But even then, I say that, we got JW saving some money, we got some pistols, and a hero AK, so they go in with a bit of a low buy now. They could have invested far more, but it wouldn't have been 5 AKs. So this makes sense. Fnatic, this is essentially their eco.
Interesting, the lack of bomb plant makes it harder for Fnatic to take map control, or maybe retake map control as that pop flash comes in once again. Lexi B with a little burst. Not sure if he saw the player on logs, but he knows there's one car at the very least. Golden with a quick jerk with the Tech 9. Lexi B is expectant. There we go, playing straight through with the combo of the smoke and the flash. Stuck at second oranges now as Alexi B trying to create some space for himself, but he'll take one in the face. Plenty of vitamin C for him. 4 versus 3 as Golden doesn't go too far. Mantu continues to creep with the AWP. Slow rotation from Issa. How much do they want to invest into this? If OG lose this round, they're in so much trouble. They lose all their weapons they're carrying right now. Oh, that's a whiff from Mantu. He's got to be real careful. Forcing Fnatic to the pool. Chiquinho on Banana. There are kits for all these players, but they've only got a flashbang left, and they still got 4 kills to find. There's the first one. Issa with 2. NBK starting to creep as well. They may be invited deep enough to lose everything as Fnatic make it to 14.
Man, Golden, like this guy again. I'm gonna bring up that earlier score on the CT side. He was really struggling to hold B. He was getting wrecked. He was 2-13 at one point. He's now 17-17. It is quite the turnaround. And right there in that post plant, doubling up on trades, backs up into the site and lets Giacchino find that final kill. Great play. Not letting OG back in. Although they may find a couple of rounds in a row, like you said, James, that was a key round for their money, and they give it a go. They send everything in a 4-on-3, and they fall short. So it'll cost them, and now they have to give away match point to Fnatic.
Series has been quite the slog for these squads. But this round won't be free for Fnatic. It'll still be dangerous. And OG have won plenty of rounds like this in this series, I feel like. The rounds which should be pedestrian for Fnatic have been lost on more than one occasion. See 4 players, top Banana, and Issa pushing through apps with a pistol and a smoke grenade. This time OG will get hit by the odd grenade, and there's more to come as we can see. But they got some grenades themselves. There's a nice response, and that will slow down Fnatic in their push towards B.
Sometimes you need a quiz, really, isn't it? I mean, on it.
Yeah, I mean that would be prime quiz time. Now, this is right where Fnatic want to be. You know, this is the perfect scenario for them in a way, right? You're up against this partial investment, 15 about to go your way if you get this over the line, and so as James is saying, they've just got to do everything they can to not get outwitted by the pistols. And what do you know, right? It's looking like they could. Brolin down here in the bottom of mid. Oh, the timing's good for him, and he has just caught Issa. Now that might save the day, because suddenly now Fnatic know, well, OG have all this information. They know that we were going B, so they've read the stack. They're rotating away, and they're going back towards this A site. They might have just saved themselves with that there.
Issa moves just a few seconds too early, doesn't he? If he doesn't die there, Fnatic go into a 4-man pistol hold. They may have even won it, but just the numbers alone made that round tantalizing. But Issa dead behind, and Fnatic have seen that before. They don't want to walk into the waiting arms of OG, and it will just be a half-buy save, really, just dragging your Kevlar into the next round. That's all this is for OG. hoping maybe you can grab an AK on the way out, but Fnatic aren't hunting. They'd rather just keep everything intact. They know OG are low money, and they will be buying up against 15. So 3 chances now. It's essentially like OT. You've just clean swept the first half. Fnatic have 3 chances to win 1 round. Seems easy, right?
Absolutely. Seems it. But I'm going to guess it's not.
Surely. Looking very focused, as have both teams here. Not getting any smiles out of Alexibi yet. Is still carrying on his very strong performance from the previous map of Mirage. I feel like no more aggro mids for OG. They need to settle back. They need to hang out. Without it, it's a great grenade combo with Alexi to find Golden down Banana, but he won't escape with his life. Mollied out by Crims. It's a good trade. 3 on A. Scary position to be in, but they do have the AWP here as well. Smoke on the long side. MBK can drop the molly. 4-man-2 is blinded, and they chase him down. Oh, the molly never comes through, and that's going to cost OG as they're yet again a man down. And Fnatic have a lot of room to move.
Oh, that helps a lot. MBK mopping up JW. We're into this 3-on-3. These 2 players inside of the A site now need to put on a bit of a show, and it's Issa continuing to find success. Another, and oh, Issa saving the day, keeping the dream alive for OG as they move on to 13. It came down to him and MBK to put on that show inside of the A site. They deal with JW first at long. That frees up MBK to rotate back around and help Issa out. But he didn't really need any help. He gets this entire round locked in single-handedly. And I mean, that's just that's great, man. That's kind of reinvigorated OG now, right? Because you're looking at Fnatic, that felt like it was theirs. They had all the openers. Yeah. They were steamrolling into that A site.
Did JW walk through the long smoke with an AWP? That's what I'm wondering. I'm pretty sure he did. That's a very bold player. To Fnatic thinking they'd already won the series, and well, out of nowhere, Issa stellar defense on the site, and suddenly, that's 1 out of 3 gone. 2 more wishes from the genie. And B stacked again. OG have had so many good reads in the CT side, even when they've not necessarily won the rounds off of them. Not forever though. Rotate goes back and Util running dry. Fnatic have more than they need to execute into B.
Oh boy.
Not anymore.
Well, it only cost them 1 for the time being, but Valor goes for a spray here. Who knows what he could find? Just the 1, in fact. Well, I'm very quick with the trade. Issa trying to connect, and even with a HE grenade at the very least, being very important. That's his 26th frag in this map. Down goes Crims, and it's down to JW now. 1 versus 3. In the smoke, he's got to be aggressive. He can't let them collapse on him. Needs to try and keep some space for himself. Very dangerous player. Not sure where he is just yet. I don't believe it is. Issa. Where are the remaining 2? Mantis on the way. Tagged through the coffins, in fact. He's got a molly as well. Switching out for an AK-47. But where is the bomb planted? Doesn't quite have the angle. MBK's here to hold things down. And OG make it to 14.
Yeah, that plant actually kind of screwed him. It's behind the fountain. The player defusing is at least. So that's not an easy kill to find once they smoke the bomb. Unfortunate stuff. But a very nice try from JW nonetheless. Hits the tag. If only that's a kill. Suddenly that game is probably done. But OG, skin of their teeth, they hold on. They know OT is within reach. 1 round from it.
You had many overtimes this tournament, boys?
I don't think we've had one yet. Yeah, which is weird, right? You know, normally it's like
lucky I'm here for you. I bring the
right.
Every single time.
I think you brought back the charm of the overtimes.
Yeah, I was the missing piece. We've actually made it happen. Cracked it on the third map where it looked like we weren't going to get it. For a second, it looked like we wouldn't find overtime. But
Don't jinx it, Henry.
well, true. Yeah, don't want to give it up now. But what have we got for the final round here? Money can't be great. I'll say that much. No, definitely not.
Yeah, this is a perfect buy for OG as well. Nothing else they could have had. Only one AK on Fnatic at round 30, map 3. Winners match of Group A. If they close this now, that would be such an insult to injury for OG. Ooh.
Well, they've got utility at least, Fnatic. Again, there's that Molotov for short. You can see Brolangton focus on the upper areas. Since there are flames down below, flame carpet or Mamu style. Did he see the players towards Graveyard? Not sure, but it's Issa again with the multi-frag. He's been so good for OG, pivotal for them. We're now in a 4 versus 2 to bring this to overtime. Very deep flash and became the Graveyard position. Really sharp shots from him, but again, it's JW alone with the bomb. Is Valde moving away from that long position? Does he go for a kill before trying to plant? Seems he might do. Surely Man2 will focus on long soon enough. There's the trade, and it's 15 apiece. 30 rounds have come and gone, and there's more play to be had here.
We made it, boys. Yes, he did it.
Never stops.
Just like the old days.
Cheers, mate.
Just like the old days. Well, we've kicked things off in true style. 3 best of 3s to come today. This one, just getting started, though. Just getting warmed up, perhaps. We could have a whole nother 30 rounds of Counter-Strike if history to repeat itself, which it usually does. Right. I'm going to be right back. I've got my actual food arriving now, boys.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah,
expect to be here.
It's
Chinese.
Yeah.
Got kebabs today. All the phone calls coming in. Be right back.
Kebab. And move to Malta to order kebab delivery.
You're in London, James. You got options.
London's fine for kebabs. You don't. Well, I don't even know what food they have in Malta, to be honest with you. So,
No.
never been there.
Oh.
Get out, run. They hear the tick of the molly, they go back to B. How long will they keep this misinfo up in mid? Because MBK is about to peek for a little bit more knowledge. Figure out if Fnatic are harboring this area. And they are not. Will there be an early B rotate? Yes, player goes back.
Boy.
MBK falls shortly after another bomb doubles into this A site. And Valde hasn't gone far. He is still close in the arch side. Smoke deep. Brolin trying to clear out the long side. Still has to get past Valde, who is at least playing for the information. Brolin looking for nades on the dead body. Nothing to be found, but the kill is in. And Crims with a pick out of apartment. Giacchino as well. And now it tumbles down for OG. Fnatic finding the round that they couldn't find in the last 3 of regulation, but they've at least started off OT strong.
Well then, starting with 16k, LXB will still choose to fall back for this one. Fnatic are back to winning ways again. Won so many rounds at the beginning of that T side, only for OG to turn it around when the pressure was high. Not wanting to take an L on the 3rd and final map. At least the first round will go the way of OG, but just have a look at all the frags on Issa. 28 for 19. I do wonder how many multi-frag rounds he's had so far. Just on this one map of Inferno. Never mind the rest. Well, there's a first round in the bag for Fnatic.
I was going to say, Issa has been like the real notable player here, right? Like consistently, even if you think about how he started this second half, rather, with the ace attempt in the 1v, well, I think it was 1v4 when he attempted it, wasn't able to get the defuse, and then since then he's given us so many of these big multi-kill rounds where he really has been the difference maker. It is great to see him having a game like this. It really, really is. Also, if I'm not mistaken, he plays with a pretty high ping, doesn't he? So, because I don't know what the situation is for OG, but it seems like everyone else is just at home.
Yeah, pretty sure he is. But hey, he made it through, his whole career doing it. So while it's a bit of a handicap, he's at least up for the job.
See, this is where you could try crescendo into something big, right? You paint this storyline of, oh, Fnatic, it's gone to overtime, but right now, with how they're positioned, they are in the lead, and they're trying to close this series out. This is why we have the sound effects, right? To add a little bit more spice.
When you start singing.
You bring no, not anytime soon. So yeah, you take a look at this. Fnatic in the lead right now, but can it stay that way? OG having this resurgence. You got guys like Issa giving us a stellar game. Mantu as well with the Zorp, him and JW in those head-to-heads. It's all on the line as we head into overtime. And right now, there isn't really a clear winner in sight just yet. We're on a little technical timeout. But that just gives us a bit more time to try and build some hype up.
That is music to my ears there, Harry. It's just I sit down, third map, overtime. Oh, technical issues, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what was the best, Henry? When it would be like, you beat a big event and it's like the pistol round, and trying to get the crowd really hype, and then they restart.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, yeah, let's go. And it's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, pretty much every game I would ever commentate. Right?
It's the worst. So what kind of kebab have you got here?
Well, unfortunately, I went
just
for a kebab box, right? Do you know when you're in London, you get a kebab box, you're expecting like some chicken doner, some chips, some bit of salad. They gave me an actual box just full of salad, a separate box full of meat, a separate box full of chips. It's just like, it's a nightmare. I don't know what they've done. I don't know, mate. It was called a kebab box. I don't think they've misunderstood the whole premise of the box. And so yeah, I'm moderately pissed off with that situation, but happy we're here in overtime. To be honest,
it's like a build your own situation.
Yeah, it's not what you need when you're live on air.
Yeah, well, maybe that's to do with the whole global situation. Trying to limit human interaction as much as possible. I don't really understand how it works, I don't even. What do you use to order food in Malta?
Apps.
No, yeah, obviously that. But I mean, like, do they have their own one, or is it just like the standard same three?
I don't want to push any brands here. It begins like it's a German one, I believe.
Okay.
It's just, all the apps. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you're on about. Yeah.
Harry's regular.
So, what's the issue then? Do we know?
Player dropped on OG, so...
Oh, I thought it was your kebab. I thought it was a kebab.
We're all waiting for you.
Lunch, yeah. We've got an hour lunch break now, mandated by the company.
Well then. Yes, Fnatic are a round up, but there's plenty more to play. They will start with 16k, so based on what we've seen thus far, do you guys have a favorite to take this in overtime?
I'm still sticking with
Have your original opinions changed?
I'm sticking with Fnatic, even though they weren't able to get it over the line. I think them getting off to a good start here. The fact that they were on 15. I think if we end up going double overtime, which does happen a fair bit, I think that's where OG can look to take it back. But I think that's how they do it. I don't think they like clean sweep and overtime. I know they're really a team that build back into games, and I still think Fnatic have the edge right now. But if it goes to another OT, then I think OG take it.
Covering both bases is
I'm more just trying to give like a nice varied answer.
See, I think Fnatic could win it. I also think OG definitely could win it. So there we go.
Oh, nice.
I'm definitely not wrong in that statement. Anyone's game, but we do have the reconnection. All players are back in the server, so hopefully the match will continue. And we get to see the culmination of one. Yeah, you used the word slog earlier, James. I think that's appropriate. This has been very, very back and forth, like dominant halves, and then a team just going completely quiet and unable to close. And well, that was a story of Mirage, it's a story of Inferno as well. Train was a long time ago, but that was pretty clean, pretty concise for Fnatic. Orbs are back out. Mantu v JW. Not really the head-to-head that we've had all too much. No one's been going for any audacious mid-picks. We've seen Mantu occasionally posting Bernarda, but more often than not, he is in apps or he is on shore, just waiting around. Heavy Apartment's presence for OG, and Valde pushing the envelope of Banana. He's gone all the way down behind the smoke, above the logs. Baited in by Golden Crims. Here's the shots he could fire back, but he allows Valde to escape. And Mantu, in the meantime, picking up an opener in mid. Oh dear, that's crazy for JW.
He didn't get it though. MBK still fighting, still holding on to the boiler room, and things really are heated up here as he's going blow for blow with JW. Still not a clear winner in sight, but they need that bomb, and MBK is not giving it up for anything. That's OG on to 16. They keep this this first half of overtime nice and competitive as we head into the third round. Yeah, I thought JW had the shot onto the guy in Boiler. I feel like it could have been a different round if he didn't need his teammates to come in and swoop through from the apartments, because it gives up the aim of the game. MBK didn't know that there was a player there.
Yeah, it kind of dug them the hole, right? Because Mantu mollies it from Boiler, and so JW either has to bail or commit, and he chooses to commit. And yeah, that's like, you have to win the fight then immediately. He doesn't. Well, the round falls apart at the seams. Mollies provide a bit of a safe haven for Crims in the middle, but not for long, as he pushes past to his death. Valde is trapped, and he's good for 2 at least. He could escape with that molly down, but he is just holding on to this position with his life. And right now, 5-on-3 for OG, looking to win the half. No surprise, considering it was a difficult task for Fnatic to close on the T side, or one round might be all they have here in OT as well.
Tag will be heard by NBK. He knows that players are lurking. Already got 4 players on this A bomb site. Oh, Mantu caught off by Brolan, just speaking, looking for the entries. Jaquinho will be denied though in the apartments. NBK falling off now again. Still 3 players there. Like to be looking top mid almost as JW rounds the corner. Last man standing on short. There is a molly as well. 42 seconds and very deep peaks must be had, but it's an easy one for Issa. Another kill for him. And OG move into the T side. 1 round to the good. Issa now hit the 30 bomb. 30 for 20. Far ahead of everybody else, but Brolan is doing his best to catch up.
Anyone's game at this point, but let's see if OG can take a clean sweep here and find what would essentially be an upset victory, right? Although we mentioned they had a better track record coming into Fnatic in this matchup. Well, the odds for Betway at the beginning were in favor of Fnatic, so I think that's a fair assessment, but OG have not gone down without a fight here. If a broken buy on MBK, it's not the money getting in the way. He wants the pace of the Mach 10 for the entry.
Ooh, they're going fast in. They're picking up the pace, and there is this triple hold here, but they're in CT. They're wrapping the ruins. Crims realizes and does turn on a dime to mop that up. It's all going a little bit chaotic now. OG spread thinly, right? Players in CT, players in the pool, and this is giving engagements over to Fnatic. We need someone to step up big here inside of this B site. Jaquinho and Golden back to back, both playing at the new box. The Golden still fighting, still trying to waste time. Finally cancelled out. And that leaves the 2-on-2 open for Fnatic. Brolan and JW left with a pretty tall order ahead of them. And, oh, that nade. Gonna swipe Valde out of the round. Mantu, he's looking for the kills. They've gone up over the railing. They're peeking in, and he's still worried about players in the site. It's a missed shot from JW. And now Mantu's aware. Now he's curious about this CT position. Re-smoke in, trying to stay alive through it. There is a gap there for the player on the left to peek through. Mantu still doesn't know the whereabouts of this second man. Now he's seen him. Now he knows. 10 seconds though, time is the problem here for Mantu. And oh, there's the first through the edge of the smoke. Now trying to get the bomb down, but he's sticking it. The swing, not through yet. Brolan will lock in the round just about. And that's Fnatic on to 17. Brolin closing out the 1v1. It's a good try from Mantu. Sadly, time is the problem there, right? He's so hard pressed to get that bomb down. Doesn't want to fake it and play for the fight. Brolin didn't even peek right away. So if he had done that, I think he would have got caught trying to plant the bomb again.
I think someone must have called to Mantu that there were 2 in CT at that point. If you recall the grenade that went through the smoke, that was from Brolin. In the meantime, he's hearing the AWP shoot. He knows that that's on JW if it's JW and Brolin alive. And so, you know, after so long of considering Banana, of watching his back, I think someone finally makes a call like they're double CT. They're both behind that smoke, and you should go for the plant. And he gets it, but doesn't get off the site for long. 17 all. Nice try for Mantu, albeit the time eludes him. Oh dear, it's a massacre. Chiquito pushing Banana, pushing the boat out, and finding 2 kills from it. It's a team flash off of Mantu that allows him to do so. And that is not how you want to start if you're OG. Fnatic back in control of this round.
JW picked up another molly. So they do have 2 on this B bomb site now. Better use one quickly. There's the first one. That will force OG back, but for how long? JW going to be forced away from all the angles, all kinds of junk in his direction. See if he's able to do anything with it. In the meantime, Golden find new box, NBK and Co in the pool position. I don't even know if Golden saw anything there, but down goes Mantu. 4 versus 2 as Fnatic start to rotate towards this B bomb site. JW still stuck and isolated from Golden, who eventually dies on the bomb site, but he stayed alive for quite a while. NBK heard reloading by default. So he's got a 1v2 on the site, but it'll soon be 1v3 as Crims makes his way over. Not needed though. JW will finish off the round, and it's match point for Fnatic once again.
On the CT side, one more round will do it, guys. Are you believing? Is this Fnatic's game?
Yeah, maybe.
Feels good to me.
It's looking good, isn't it? I'm always worried though, Henry. I'm always worried with you. The amount of games I've seen where it looks like it's all said and done. It looks like it's been put to bed.
Yeah.
And then you get another 6 out of it.
Yeah,
bonus round.
CT side is different as well. That's a nice change, right? 3 T rounds they couldn't close. Well, now they're on the other half. Now they're in a better position. But JW does get legged out of spawn. Mantu trades out of the AWP back to the AK after legging him. So that's kind of cool. You know you have the money for it. It's not going to cost you anything. So gives the AWP a shot, but doesn't want to run it in an execute. And that makes a lot of sense. We actually saw the same punishment come through for JW trying to, run the AWP into the T rounds in regulation to close this map. And here come OG towards the A site, fast and furious.
There's a gap for Brolin to play with. That's the bomb spotted for Mantu as well. But look at the swing from OG, making away over. It's Crimson turns the whole thing down with the multi-frag. He finds himself 3. Still has support on the side if he needs it.
Surely.
To the right, in fact, from Brolin. Issa creeping up now as Mantu's in the apartments with the T4. But the cavalry is on the way from Fnatic. 45 seconds, and OG may try and catch a rotation out. Mantu now making things worse, but Issa will fail after so many kills. Leaves Mantu in a 1 versus 3, and it's his turn to head towards the B-bomb site.
Yeah, with 30 seconds remaining, he has to be running in the next 5 seconds or so. So this is getting to the point of no return. Walking up towards middle. I think we might be done here, boys. Pack it all up. Mantu will find a gap towards short, but that's it. Crimson's got it. And there we have it. Fnatic are your victors. I'll let you do this bit. I'm not actually working the show, so.
Yeah, man, Fnatic take it, and it takes them an overtime to get there, but they're still able to long this out. I think if this has taught us one thing, is that these OG games specifically are going to feature this a lot, right? With these comebacks and having to haul your way back into a game, because pretty much every single map they've played now, apart from trains, have been these back and forth affairs where it's ended up, going the distance every single time. I think it's a shame. We had a great game out of Issa. He was looking really, really good. But it's like once we hit that overtime, I don't know, man, Fnatic, they kicked it up a gear. It really did feel like it. You got some great rounds out of the likes of JW in there as well. I don't know. I think that was a good series all in all, even if it was a very drawn out affair. And Chiquinho, I think, had a much better performance today than what we saw from him the other day.
For sure, yeah. We're going to be talking more about that, though. We also have 2 more best of 3s coming up for the rest of the day, so do join us after the break.
Oh, he's turned the camera on. Oh, we got Dan here.
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Live
I'm
from
here now.
Witness Protection at the Beyond the Summit studios. Mr. DDK. Come with the... Oh, there we go.
Oh, he's
fancy.
done
Look at the
something there.
unveiling.
Like that.
I'm ready to go. Here we go.
What did you make of that
Okay.
matchup, Dan? You like that was a crazy game. There was so many rounds. I mean, what did you make of it? I'm sure you were on the edge of your seat.
I missed most of that game. I'll be completely honest. I was traveling all the way over here, so it's very early still in LA. So I actually missed that game, unfortunately. So you guys will have to fill me in.
Nice troll there, Hugo.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was pretty good.
What did you make of that game? That was before you started working today. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fnatic 19-17. It was a really long, drawn-out series. I think it was very difficult for both squads, but we saw some great individual play. Again, it's an easy highlight of Issa. Got a lot of multi-frags. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough on this occasion to topple the likes of Fnatic. But I liked, even though they lost OG, I like how they starved Fnatic in the rounds they won and limited what they could do and stopped them from showing that kind of Fnatic flair. But even then, with that difficulty, Fnatic still turned it around. So props to them for the W.
Yeah, and we, like Harry mentioned, coming off the back of that game, like we saw a lot more from Giacchino today, right? Obviously a very young player, a lot of eyes on this guy, replacing Flusher, big boots to fill, but looks like a very capable player. Doesn't look like he's getting nervous or anything, despite playing against some of these top tier players, like players he will have, I'm sure, looked up to for years as well. So yeah, cool, calm and collected, and showed up in the server today as well.
Yeah, and then I think you mentioned it as well, how Golden how they had like a really good recovery in that third map that feels like it was instrumental to the Fnatic win, especially when you think about how close that game was towards the very end. You know, if he kind of kept up that quiet start, it could have been a very, very different story. I like that. It became like a battle of attrition between these two teams. And when you think about the fact that we've been saying OG, they seem like this team where it's all about the long game, all about the resilience, right, and building back into a series. The fact that Fnatic kind of beat them at their own game there is something that I think you have to give Fnatic commendations for, especially within the context that they do have this new blood in the team in Giacchino.
Yeah, we need to see more from him in the games to come. See what his individual flair looks like in this Fnatic roster. A lot of functional kills in that game, which is great, but I suppose we'll need longer to tell his story and how he fits into Fnatic. I feel like with the likes of Golden, you could see immediately his own personality in the server, but that didn't come in just yet for Giacchino, which is fine. You know, it's kind of day one for him, so no issues there. Yeah. So yeah, Fnatic. It was a good. I like to see the struggle. You know, I think it was difficult, as I said, for both teams, and it was pretty close in terms of who won it. But how to see how both teams perform under immense stress, I think, is good. And at least on an individual level, we saw a lot of solo plays to really keep their teams in the game. So that was a good takeaway.
That result as well sets us up for some cool group changes. If you keep in mind, Cole Dig is a losers matchup, right? No matter what happens there, I think it's a cool final decider game of Group A, because, you know, for Cole OG, that's, you know, two European mixes to a degree taking each other on, and then if it's Dig OG, where you get that rematch, and that series was so close, despite Train being a blowout, 2 16-14s there, similar to what we've just had in this series in very close and very long maps. And so yeah, I think it's a win-win no matter which matchup we get there moving forward. For now, Fnatic straight through the group, and that's a reassuring feeling for a team that had its ups and downs in 2020, especially considering it's online.
It's so wild to think that in 2020 there was a time where Fnatic was #1 in the world, right? Like everyone kind of glosses over it because it was a real flash in the pan kind of vibe. But it is nice to see them rebuilding now with that addition. But I tell you what, there's still more Counter-Strike yet to come, right? There's actually a lot more Counter-Strike still to come. We gave you a nice long game there, and potentially we've got 2 more of them coming up in just a minute. So stick with us.
Welcome back to CS Summit number 7, numero 7. No, I don't know. Anyway, we're joined by Robin and Dan. We've replaced the white people with more white people, but it's a little bit more interracial because Dan is, of course, are Indian, aren't you, Dan? Mr.
Yeah.
Kapadia, very common name in
And,
India.
Quarter
Well,
French like you.
have you done one of those tests? The 23andMe or whatever?
Yeah, it came out exactly as I expected.
Well, like
Oh, really?
50-50.
So, yeah,
What about
but
you?
more or less. Yeah.
Pure Viking over there, Robin?
I haven't actually done a test, but you know, considering how pale I am, I have blue eyes. I think I have a
There's not much
pretty.
to find out.
Yeah, you know, yeah, exactly.
Like
My mom did one of those
Walker.
but yeah, my mom did one of those for her dog once. That was interesting because she, you know, had a mutt of a dog, so trying to figure out whether all the different flavors in that puppy, you know. But it was fun. It was fun. I have been considering doing it, even if it's going to be pretty boring for me, maybe.
I wonder what mine would say, because I'm half English, half Cameroonian, but my name is German. I don't know, but there must be some German somewhere, I suppose. I'm not actually at all French myself, although, you know, my dad's been married 3 times, so like a lot of my family's French. But I'm
Well,
not
you
French.
say that. You might be.
I might, I suppose so, yeah. My mum is from Francophone Cameroon, so she speaks French, but I don't because I'm a moron. Anyway, we have Heroic versus mousesports up. That is our second game of the day. Heroic have they've been on the up in the last year. That's certainly for sure. Mousesports again. New look Mousesports. We got man like Acor on deck again. We saw some of him yesterday, but I think I quite like the Heroic story because I feel like, I mean, I suppose Dan feels the same in terms of like Cadian. Dan and I have because he's been like swirling every so often. He's been swirling around in previous years, played matches from our office and so on when he's been doing some stuff for us many years ago. So I feel like we've always seen his career grow and grow, and
He even
finally
observed
starting
for
to peak
us.
now, at least.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like Caden is not an old guy, but he's been around for a very long time. If you think about it, like he's had his moments where he retired, right? He did casting, he did some observing, he's been around the block, and then coming back. I think it's a very impressive route he's taken, right? And he's not really ever given up on the idea of ever going pro. And I think that kind of speaks volumes for itself, right? In terms of the work ethic that he has. And I really think that he has turned around. I mean, this guy competed when I competed, and you know, years ago. Then I wouldn't really say that he was, you know, tier 1 or anything like that, right? He was competitive, but to see him kind of turn this around, like he has turned out to be one of, you know, Denmark's best talents at the moment. If you think about the full package that he provides, he's a very smart player, been very consistent as well, has some impact, a lot of impact routes, I'd say as well. So like, yeah, I think this Heroic lineup is actually very interesting to watch, and it's going to be fun to see now. Them stepping up. I mean, they just played MIBR yesterday. Mousesports were a new player, but yeah, I actually think that this might be another Heroic year. I think online helped them a lot with, you know, the pandemic and all that, but I think that it's the same argument can be made for other teams that have made a lot of changes, especially that has a young team. I think it benefits them tremendously, but I think at the end of it, you know, once we're back from a maybe COVID world or maybe more offline events, I think this Heroic lineup, based on the experience they've gotten now this past year, it's actually going to be pretty good on offline as well.
Yeah, I think I want to, although we could be sticking on this point for too long at this point, but I want to also throw a couple of cents in on the Cadian thing. I think it's really amazing because I think what was most clear from the outside in terms of his performances is that he was someone that really struggled with pressure, and you could really see that the mental game was a huge obstacle for him. And so to see all of the sort of hurdles that he's overcome to kind of innovate as a player, I think other players should look to that as inspiration because as you say, like Cadian, there's been a lot of times when he's been written off like in a really big way. Like he is not a good enough, that he's not someone that is ever going to make it, but he stuck around and he worked hard, and it's that passion that really, you know, kept fueling him forward, and here he is. It's amazing to see that. And it's easy to forget that a lot of players that come up are going to be in the sort of mental aspect of the game and sort of a maturity aspect as human beings. They're going to be, you know, held back a little bit when they first jump onto the world stage, and you see all of their talent, but there's a lot of refining that needs to go into that process. And we need players like Cadian and others I think this is like an interesting thing about now we're seeing this like these great mixtures of in teams where we have like a couple like 2-3 like veterans that have been around for ages and can guide the younger players. That seems to be very necessary in like a successful team these days. And for a long time in the past, I felt like the youngsters were kind of gate kept pretty hard in a lot of cases. Is in that sense, Robin, like, you know, we just saw, for example, like we're seeing it with a lot of teams, you know, new players being added in. I want to ask you, like, what is the most exciting, like, young prospects actually that's coming up right now on that topic?
I think you have prospects like that in every region. I was making the argument last year, for example, that I can't believe we're still having open qualifiers and it's all just all Europe. Instead of, for example, having an open qualifier in Scandinavia. There's so much talent all over the world. I think based on to your point, Jordan, I think a lot of people are doing the same right now of like moving over and. Difference from a few years ago when picking up a young player, it was very much like, hey, you're doing what we ask you to do, and we're going to teach you the ropes. I think nowadays it's more of like, oh, these new players are all from CSGO. They're pure CSGO bred. They probably have a lot more ideas than, for example, we do. Let's give them a little bit more flexibility. Let's give them a little bit more responsibility and be the playmakers on the server, and let the older generation kind of be the not support players maybe in some sense, but like be the guys that maybe know their flashbangs a little bit more, maybe does do well with trading, and let these youngsters be a little bit more aggressive. I think for me, the guy that sticks out for me, right, is Heap. I think Fnatic has done a really good job, like cool pickup as well with Jacquinho, but I think Heap for me is definitely like a standalone. I think he's going to have a really cool year. I think he's going to break out as a player. He's definitely going to be probably one of the most talked about players, I think, this year. He's absolutely insane. Giving him some more experience as well, he's gonna start popping off even more.
We can see that mousesports are a significant favorite in the map winner odds from Betway. We can see 1.6 to 2.1 for Heroic. Mousesports having picked Train, of course, with Vertigo to come for Heroic and Mirage as a decider. I quite like this series of maps.
I don't know if I agree with the odds.
Yeah.
Mousesports, the first event, right, with Acor, he just joined, what was it, like 3 days ago, so they haven't had a chance to play with him. Chris J on the bench, right, so him coming in, like, he's a fantastic player, but I think give it some time, and compare Heroic to another, like, for example, even Fury. Heroic is a strategical team. I think you actually need to have your eggs in your basket and actually know what you're doing to have a chance against Heroic. That's why the odds for me is a little bit surprising.
Those are just for map 1, I believe, by the way, for Mousesports' pick of Train.
Nonetheless, listen. Okay, that makes more sense if it's just map 1.
If he's got something to say.
I don't know. I'm a little bit bullish on Heroic here. I think there's going to be another good tournament for them if we compare to Dan's point, right? How they kind of finished the year. I would make the same argument to Mousesports. I do think that they have gotten a little bit better as of late. Now, granted, again, as I pointed out, they just replaced Chris J with Acor, so Mousesports was one of the teams that did play a lot of the maps. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kerrigan has in store for us here.
Sapphire with the finest hair in Counter-Strike. Follow her on Twitter. Maybe she'll give you some tips.
She does do a lot of giveaways and stuff too.
When I used to watch the Dignitas female team play, she'd send me the IPs. I would just watch their matches on GoTV because they were organized and it was good. Sapphire's awesome. But anyway, I think Cadian is like the personification of the hard grind in Counter-Strike. We'll see if it continues in this particular match. So far, so good for Heroic. 5 versus 2 in the pistol round in the first half of the first map of this series. CZ75 on Storm. Give him 1 kill. Acor's got that extra range with the P250. Frozen with a Glock now down to 1 HP. But maybe he can do something. The bomb hasn't been spotted on him, of course, because it's carried by Acor. And now dropped by Cadian, leaving Frozen with a lot to do and not much to do it. This would be such a low percentage clutch. 1 HP, 1 versus 4 in a pistol with a Glock. You can see him trying to show his gun there to bait some shots. He'll take 1 out, but the trade was almost inevitable, all but inevitable, and indeed, Heroic will take the pistol.
I gotta say, like, it's really hard for me not to be a fan of mousesports so long as, Rops is on the team. And I was gonna say, Rops and Chris J. Obviously, Chris J is not there, but I've discovered since now seeing that this lineup doesn't have like most of that original core, that I still love this team, and it's probably it's because of Robs. I think I don't know what it is exactly.
I also like how Kerrigan calls. I think Kerrigan's teams tends to be exciting to me. I think he does manage to get them competitive almost every single time. I think he has a great track record. That's a great opening from A-Core. There's a full buy from mousesports, Deagles, and just a scout. Half armor on A-Core. This is a good spot from a Kerrigan. 5-on-3. No nades have been done. It's from the opening of A-Core here. Nice little scout shot on Borup. See if they can finalize here.
This is very dangerous. Oh, it's getting a lot worse too. It's not looking like they're going to have a good time with this. Getting overwhelmed on the site now. Just Nico remaining, and there are many man to contend with here all around him. Just toying with him at this point. I think Frozen could have knifed him if he wanted, but there we go. Carrying wall, close it down, and A-Core opening up with the scout. I feel like that's a premonition of things to come. I think Flashpoint 1 was when I first saw A-Core, and really I think kind of what he can do. And I feel like I'm still waiting for A-Core to show the world that he can become an incredibly insane player. Like he has that skill. I think it's just the platform, and as you were saying, Robin, being on a Kerrigan team is a pretty good way to show off what you can become.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a step towards it as well, right? Like you're saying, he comes from Mad Lions. Like I can't remember when he played before Mad Lions, but he goes from Mad Lions into mousesports, right? I mean, that's an upgrade even if you consider Mad Lions a very good team, right? Like mousesports, I don't think they're currently in the top 10, but been a consistent team in that ranking and top 15 at least. So absolutely, I think there's a lot of experience to be gained here from A-Core, if you think long term as well.
I always thought that was the biggest thing holding back Mad Lions was they didn't have enough wisdom. I felt like the team was very disciplined, but they just needed somebody with more experience to kind of help them catch up a lot faster with all the young players that they have.
It's what I was talking about, the development stages, right? Compare that to Sweden or even, Norway, like that doesn't exist there, right? But then if you look at Denmark, yeah, you have Mad Lions, but what do you have right under them? It's Copenhagen Flames. So like you kind of have this ladder of development that you can kind of take. And like you're saying, James, like I think that's really that differentiates or separates, a really good team to the, I guess maybe tier 2 teams right now online is that experience that you kind of provide from having the veterans on your team.
I think if they had like a threat who is probably still one of the unicorns at the moment, he could do so much with that squad of players. But obviously he's quite busy doing that with a different team at the moment. mousesports 2-1 now.
It seems like that you make the argument of like when you have older, like for example Fetish, right? Like I think he's already coaching another team, but like older guards, people like that that's coming back. I think they're good spots for like Mad Lions spots and stuff like that. Yeah. Now that I talk about it, I actually feel like maybe that's where he's at. No, I think there's a lot of talent. I think based on what we saw last year with NA with CS:GO, but if you compare it to Europe, I think this European scene is just keep blossoming and keep growing. We have a lot of exciting young talent that's just keep developing as well.
Nice, beautiful flashbang. Very, very nice indeed. Down goes Kerrigan. Heroic making use of a difficult situation. Has some good map control as well, which Robs is trying to do something about because there's no one in main. However, he's got eyes on it from Popdog, so he knows it hasn't been compromised. The creep continues to quietly switch weapons, but Storm can't get into position in time. They didn't see the weapon switch though, so Nico is position unknown. Trigger discipline looking for 2. There's one, a very nice second headshot. We got Frozen here as well. It's going to get even worse for them. Still not good though. 2-on-3. Frozen elevating to look into connector. And he lives in regret, or dies in regret rather. That leaves the Rops alone now. He has got pop flashes from down here through the glass up top.
I look where the bomb is though.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. I'm probably just gonna be saved by AK. Might do some damage. I mean, it's still winnable, sure, but 32 HP, armor on all 3 members on Heroic as well. I was gonna say this is looking dangerous for Heroic there. I mean, losing the first anti-eco, double buying, have a half buy here as well, just Eagle half armor. that they're able to win this is going to be amazing for them on that CT side. Because look at their money now. They have upgrades as well. 3 weapons on the board that they just picked up in a round that wasn't going to be winnable. So this is basically getting a round for free here. This is nice. I can't believe he hits the second one, like the flick there, based
so
on like,
fast.
yeah, like he runs there too. Here we go. Still a buy though on mousesports. We have an AWP on A core, so won't be seeing one on the heroic side though. 2 AUGs though.
It's always interesting to kind of see how, let's say, Carrigan is going to try to use A core, as you say, just jumping into the lineup. It seems like it's a player that you can give a lot of freedom to. Speaking of Carrigan, he's going to get exploded by a grenade, so that's not a good start for mousesports. It's always really rough when you go down 4 versus 5 in a situation like this, because you kind of want to just go off of the positions that you have, but also kind of group up. You don't want to be in that picking phase anymore. You don't want to be in a position where you could go down into like a 3 versus 5 before you've gained any position. Position is really important to try to find at this point. And on train, it's so hard. I feel like this is one of the most hopeless maps to be in this spot, because there's just no openings, and you're very spread apart if you want to split as the T side. So it's very hard to like distract attention.
Especially if you lose T-Con controls, because you kind of saw that now. Carrigan going down, he's the one guy that's holding T-Con. Normally what you see if they're taking over Ivy is that CTs tend to push into T-Con, for example, taking a little bit more deep map control. mousesports wouldn't have been in a position to kind of counter that at the moment, so kind of forced them to fall back. So yeah, to your point, Dan, like losing entry so early on this map is really difficult. There's not a lot of openings. Obviously, CTs as well just keep smoking it down to 30 seconds left on the clock now. Forced to make a move, and Robs, that's a nice entry though. Makes it a 4-on-4. We actually have a round on our hands now. As I say,
no.
Nice little double. Good spot as well in E-box.
Yeah, that was an outrageous entry from Robs, maybe feeling like it was it had to be done, and Robs is entertaining as he's running the clock down for them, entertaining while Cadian drops off the last 2. mousesports had Robs make again an outstanding entry, very necessary for them to progress, but was definitely cut short by Heroic. 3-2 now.
Just a round like that, when we talk about experience, what Borup does, like you could argue he gets to 2. Normally an inexperienced player here, he would go for more. He would go and kill the guys on T-Con, but you see how patient he's playing Borup there. He's just staying alive at E-box, which forces mousesports, the last 2 members, to just stand and hold, which for Caden gets the 2 kills at the end, shoots him in the back, right? So we talk about experience, we talk about making the moves. I think this heroic lineup is definitely learning a thing or two the past year. I think we would have seen them maybe be a little bit more cocky there otherwise. It's a good round nonetheless.
It's actually crazy too, as like a general statement, how much the overall level has improved.
It's insane.
Counter-Strike.
There's so many teams that's competitive. Like you can make the argument that a top 40 team can, you know, surprise against a top 15 team. Because look at the top 40 at the moment, the list, right? Like there's some good teams on there.
Yeah, it used to be the case that if you weren't in the top 8, and even some of the teams in the top 8, you may not even be able to cobble together like a well-rounded game of Counter-Strike that's fundamentally sound.
It used to be very top-heavy, like the top 4. Yeah. It was always the same teams in semifinals. You know, you could always surprise, maybe hit playoffs and quarters, but then that game would always be like a 2-0.
It's amazing. It's really interesting because in terms of like how long CS:GO has been around as an esport, it's not a super long time, but at the same time, it feels like a long time in the esports world. But it feels like it's kind of still just the beginning of so much more to come. So I hope that like everything goes well and CS:GO continues to keep just progressing upwards, because it's just so interesting to see year on year the developments.
I think grassroots and I think, you know, middle of the pack of not tier 1 tournaments, I think it's super important to keep supporting, because based on the landscape right now, we can't get to a point, right, where we're back to 15, 20 teams being supported on the, you know, top heavy, and then no one else is getting anything.
Yeah. I think that's something that's Valorant is actually helping with, providing like an extra sort of marketplace for those people, so that those players still have a place to go to become professionals with these skill sets.
I can't believe they're already down on bomb side here. Robs is just going absolutely mental. Gets to 2. Bomb goes down though, but Carrigan is still an upper. Did he just walk down lower? Like literally just one paw flash and then that was it? Welcome in?
I think Robs is on bath salts today. That's my conclusion from what I've seen so far.
Oh.
He's currently in connector as both CTs have traded positions with the Ts, looking to enter the site now. TeSeS and Cadian. Cadian coming in from the back as TeSeS looks to show some presence. Cadian needs to watch TeSeS's back though. Advantage in. There's a nice landing of a shot from Cadian. Molly, Rox has to be careful though. He's very low on health, looking for the elevated position. Ooh. One tap from Cadian as Rox was low. Second AWP if they want it, and they do. And Heroic make it to 5 from 7 rounds on their CT side. A good start so far.
Really good retake there. mousesports, like I said, they got in. We just see the last stages of here, but they just walk in. I think it's just one pop flash goes in, and to James' point, maybe Rops is on bath salts or something, but he runs down, gets 2 entries on the bomb site. Still one member from Heroic still left on upper, but the fact that they managed to retake that after, nicely done. Another buy here though from mousesports. Sloppy one. It's that half buy, but Kerrigan actually buys full AK armor. And he's dead.
Yep.
He had a good spawn. I think he wanted to just go out there, maybe get the entry on ladder room because they know that they've been contesting it every single round. And then for these guys to just fall down, Robs with the scout there as well, potentially just causing some havoc outside by E-Box. But with Kerrigan going down, forces them to kind of just go inner. And the goal here is really just to get the bomb down. Do some damage as a bonus.
Ooh. Oh.
Get a cheeky boost here. All right, guys.
Crouch.
All right, we'll see. It's gonna.
Rops is the man to make any jump you want. He spends more time on KZ than anyone else.
No. Oh man. All right. Maybe we might see it again. There's so much noise being made as well. I think they just said like this. They know, man. They know.
Ooh, that was a close one, dude. The scout.
1080p Counter Strike from Robs. Hilarious how much of a revelation it's been this week. All deleted. Oh, mousesports. Not getting much of anything from that, despite their best efforts. A little clumsy today, but there's always tomorrow.
Yes, so looking at the CT side so far from Heroic, they're actually not doing anything in particular. I would actually say what the round that mousesports just did with Kerrigan trying to go out T-Con fast, I would actually love to see that on a regular weapon round instead, to try and put some pressure on Heroic. We kind of see the same tendency of like, there's just, now we have a double up setup on the Heroic as well. So like getting out and trying to fight and getting the smoke wall up might be the next play. But because Kerrigan bought the AK last round, again, we see the same round again with not a lot of utility. Default though. 2-1-2. And we see, look at Heroic, right? It's Borup. He's so aggressive in T-Con. This is very default, but you know, Kerrigan going down here again is why he's playing so defensive.
Imagine if there were 2 HEs there, man. I was talking about this earlier on. We even showed a video of it. I think it was originally made by GodB to have that molly on the outside, force a CT forward and have 1 or 2 HEs down the ladder. For the guaranteed kill. mousesports trying to make this round viable. 3-on-3 at present, but the snipers are going to be up close and Acor with a quick scope. We'll take down Storm. TeSeS and Nico now. Nico heading towards Old Bomb.
Oh, the timing.
Really great recovery so far for mousesports if you consider how the start went there. TeSeS nailing one in ladder, but here we go. Kerrigan gets a backstab, and that might really just put TeSeS at too much of a disadvantage. He'll creep out from Pop using the smoke, but they have a great sense as to his position, and although Kerrigan goes down, now TeSeS is out in the open, and Bimus will find him. So yeah, great recovery in that round from mousesports, and I'm curious if we'll see any more tactics around that pop dog position. I agree with you, James.
I was going so to speak about that. I think the reason why it kind of stopped, why teams stopped doing that was because when you do the double molly, if you haven't gotten rid of the CT smoke yet, they will just smoke one of the mollies and will stand in it, right? And they won't really die. And I think there's so much utility being wasted on getting ladder versus then, for example, just waiting. But I do agree. I mean, I think I'm surprised that we don't see it maybe every now and then, maybe like once a half, just to showcase of like, hey, listen, like we're gonna fight for ladder. But instead, people opt against it. Same positions again from Heroic. So to James's point, you know, a ladder molly round here could work just to get some more map control, right? We've seen it as well. Like mousesports have been struggling on that, getting that control. So very aggressive setup here.
Cadian's the only man I could think of who uses the Lightning AWP on a regular basis.
There's been a lot of. I feel like the game's been out for so long now, and especially skins. There's been so many old school skins that we don't see nowadays.
I know the classic ones are the
Lightning, the Deagle Blaze.
Yeah, I think the Prince Streamer's got the new crown though, as far as the Deagle's concerned. Oh, Tesso's creeping around. Left. And just as you mentioned, he threw a smoke and a molly on that occasion. The previous round he was forced forward. But wanting to repeat his behavior, he'll change his time, and indeed the time is starting to run low. Nice flick from Cadian. Landing his shots today. Or having to dance around, he smokes towards Ivy. Cadian coming in for support, though he can't see much. 35 seconds on the clock. The bomb is pinging in an Ivy at the moment. And the support's just been taken out. Well, the frozen gone, and Acorn may not survive this.
It's a rough spot to be in if you're mousesports. It's the same kind of problem that they're having, that they're not having a chance to kind of go outside and fight a little bit. Round's still not over, but it's 15 seconds left. Acor being very low here. Yeah, I was going to say, there should be a call for a save. But yeah, Heroic, there's no reason for them as well to kind of not keep doing what they're doing, playing this aggressive. They're very fast on the rotates inner as well, playing the 4 members, 1 in ladder room. Even if he ends up going down and falling, there's still 2 members there ready to fight. So we'd love to see, a change of pace for mousesports here. Let's put Heroic on the spot and do some fast rounds. Even if it's a fast alley round, like, it doesn't matter. I just want to see like a change of pace so Heroic can start to guess a little bit more.
Yeah, the default setup on the CT side here looks really, really strong, and it's a lot about also using the utility really efficiently. So you have the ability to kind of react as the round progresses, and that's something as well that I think isn't talked about as much necessarily, is how you're able to give an argument for a team to use more utility than they should, giving you that advantage going into the mid or late rounds in terms of util. I think on a map like this, it's really important, and it kind of goes back to that point you were making previously about how much do we really want to invest on ladder? Is that actually kind of plus EV or not in terms of our rounds? And we'll see if the pace will change here. It would be a round which would make a lot of sense. Not a great situation in terms of the util, and Carrigan just on a deagle, so he could be the sacrificial lamb. We'll have to see.
And because mousesports hasn't figured out a way to sort out ladder room, that's why Heroic keeps on standing there, right? Like, I think really the struggle has been just the fact that we'll see it here, and this is really, again, right, to force out the smoke, maybe early. Normally CTs tend to be smart, though. If they don't have to use the smoke, they won't. But here we kind of see the timing, right? So that's what I talk about. It's 1:15. The smoke has been placed down from Tessus, which means that he's forced to kind of back out of ladder room unless he has a teammate that's going to come with a backup smoke. So now we're in a much better position for mousesports in terms of like actually just getting proper map control. And then let's say that they wanted to execute outside now, they would be in much better positioning. But as we see, they're moving inside, which was the plan all along. The regular default is 2-1-2. This round we're playing a little bit more 1-1-3. Oh, and this could be trouble.
This is going to be epic. Acor. Gonna get traded here, surely. Thing and a dong. More than 1 kill for Heroic. Carrigan barely alive. Great place, Molly. That's a bomb spotted as well. Limited rotation now for mousesports. Heading towards top, but there are also flames. Got to be real careful. Just kissing the flames there. And there's another incendiary. Well, there was. Maybe a bit laggy on the minimap. But there will be a smoke towards Ivy to try and give them a chance to plant the bomb. But Tessus is waiting kindly. Cadian just trying to run distraction as he looks to post up. Bombs dropped now, and Carrigan with 14 HP needs to take a decision here. Although it's been taken away by Tessus, and Heroic stop mousesports with a very cheeky play on the ramp.
Yeah, what do you guys think about this mechanic in the game? I think people would have probably figured it out like 1.5 to 2 years ago, maybe. We sit in the smoke, and as it's disappearing, there's like some very, very tiny amount of time where you get that kind of one-way advantage. Obviously, that was abused there massively. Super smart, but what do you guys think about that being in the game? Do you have opinions?
People start standing in them because you have that advantage of seeing people first when the smoke starts to fade, and I'm not a fan of it. Like, technically, it should be the other way around. So that's why you kind of see like people just sitting in smokes nowadays. I don't know. It kind of for me, I kind of didn't like it because, like, sure, we do see a little bit more plays of like, oh, people walking through a smoke and getting maybe a 2 or 3 kill nicely that they shouldn't have gotten. But at the same time, like, yeah, I'm not a fan of like the actual bloom and
Yeah,
what's the outcome of it.
I assume it's not by design. I don't know if there's like some kind of engine limitation, but indeed I agree that ideally people outside of the smoke should be at the advantage, not the other way around. But it is what it is.
They've been having so many problems with this. I mean, at least they're in a better state now than they were before. Nice. Oh my God, nice aggressive play from Nico. They go again. We can see, man, Heroic comes back again. I talk about mousesports being a little bit too slow, and I know maybe that's their playstyle a little bit, but when we see Heroic just taking a lot of map control again and again, like they're taking everything for free, like you have to question it for mousesports because you're getting to a point where you might have a good idea, but look at the spacing, look at the minimap here as well, where Heroic are, right? Like all 4 members are here, like they have a Tessus as well, super fast on the flank. Even if mousesports ended up getting the first kill there, they would have just been dead, bomb down maybe. That's about it.
Yeah, it seems like mousesports have been suffering a lot in these regular gun rounds from just not being able to win either pop or IV. Like one of the two, you kind of want to be able to win. As a T side, obviously both is great, but you usually force a rotation from one of those positions if you win one of those positions. So we'll see a faster approach outside. So looking like they're trying to make something happen, but it's not going to be met with any positive results. Not just yet, at least. 2 players going down for mousesports, and they've lost forward positions. So they've lost a lot and gained nothing for it.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah, and same thing there. We kind of talk about timing and in the sense of like when do CTs rotate back so they have 2 guys inner, and you kind of do it after the first T smokes kind of fade that you throw outside, and that timing wasn't met. And obviously that's on purpose on mousesports, but we see there again with Heroic playing 4 guys outside, it's just a straight brick wall for mousesports. And then here as well, very late on the ladder take as well, right? Only being 2 members alive, and Nico still has a smoke, so Heroic has definitely been the better team by far so far this half. I think we can kind of definitely see the struggle that mousesports have with the new player that we kind of talked about coming into this game, which is why the odds for me, even if it was just for map 1, was a little bit weird. I think Heroic is really showcased and again that they are a very competitive team. And I feel like they're one of those teams as well that they are pretty consistent. You barely see them getting these scrappy losses that you might not think that they would be.
Oh, have a look at this pilgrimage up Ivy very quick. Storm's got some sound cues at the very least. He's also picked off Acorn down Ivy, and he's going to get shot from Carrigan. I think near main or something. Big flashbangs as well, but things still going Heroic space somewhat. Now it's down to a 2 versus 2. Carrigan looking to sweep. Tessus waiting though, holding the angle. Got Nika looking to make a rotation. Maybe some sound cues from his teammate. They'll roughly know where one of these players is. There's Carrigan spotted by Hell, but Tessus looking for that second player. Where is Rops? Unfortunately for him, he's only got a scout. There's a tag onto Nico. They know where he is now. Needs to try and avoid a double peek. However, his chances are taken away by Tessus. A stronghold from Heroic in this first half. mousesports, the best they can do right now is 4.
And we can kind of see the struggle that mousesports having as well. I mean, I think we stopped bashing on Kerrigan a little bit more as of late, which is fantastic. Again, I think he provides so much to the team, but you know that the team is in trouble as well when we see the scoreline and Kerrigan is having the best series based on what we got. We also know that he has the toughest spot being his sole player in T connector, and he's still the one getting some extra kills here. So it's definitely been an uphill battle for mousesports. Have not had a good time here on that CT side or that T side. And it's another default, 2-1-2 again. Feels like, if anything, it looks like they're just practicing it. Same setup. This is, we call this a Fnatic setup on the Heroic side. Now, Nico moved, but the setup there with ladder, E-box, and behind 5. And then 2 guys inner, you have a diagonal line. You can fight basically everywhere. Ladder, if they come out T-Con, you're 3 there. If they come out Ivy, you have a good setup there as well. It's a good start here from mousesports, at least getting the entry. A lot of chip damage as well.
55 seconds to go, and we'll start to see a rotation down towards Ina, at least from Bimus. His teammate is actually above the pop ladder still. and they do have a deep position with A-Core there on Ivy. So they've got that Ivy control. This is some of the stuff I've been talking about here. You need to win some position, and A-Core's able to capitalize, peeling off an additional player away from Heroic. Heroic are in definitely hot water at the moment, but time is starting to play against mousesports. They've got to speed things up. They've only got 20 seconds for a plant, and now they start to approach from team main, and the entry kill is there, but Storm could still ruin their chances.
It's very nice smoke off the ladder from Carrigan. There will be a boost. Trying to find it well timed. Carrigan stands up. Will he be spotted by Storm? He will attack, but he's alive for now. The HP grenade goes in the wrong direction, but Borup can do what he can. Traded by Bemis, leaving Storm alone 1v2. Very tough spot for him. He has a defuse kit. Got to be careful about his barrel concealing his position. Has no idea where to look. See how he's swinging around, trying to cover everything as best as possible. He's made some footsteps down. He needs to draw out one of these players. There's a grenade burst from Bemis. He eats a flashbang, and there's a little burst. He's run out of bullets. That will mean a peak. And 4 rounds from mousesports at half time. Is it too little, too late? We'll find out after the break. Number 7. Summit number 7, not 7-11. It is 11 for Heroic, though, who have moved to the T side after a very successful defensive side. It's mousesports' turn to defend now, and it all starts with the pistol. They've all got Kevlar and USPs, no utility, no defuse kit. Nothing of that sort for mousesports. They have simply armored up with 3 on the B-bomb side.
Yeah, and the only thing we should consider here is then we tend to be very quack, Jesus.
Quack?
Yeah, we're very quacky, very quick on the retakes. with 5 armors. And we see the same, right? Like, if we look at mousesports pistol round setup, it's 3 guys to inner. It's very common to go inner and plant the bomb. And we're looking to fight here if you're mousesports. It's not going to be any flashbang retakes or anything like that. Like, we're looking for headshots, and that's a good start from Frozen.
Oh, it's a huge start. Getting to pick up one player on the entry. Beautiful stuff. And Robs is on the bomb train too, and they aren't able to deal with him. Frozen's still doing damage. Eventually, Robs goes down to be able to get the bomb planted, but it's going to be tough for Kaden to even pull his gun out. No bullets remaining. Has to go for the reload. Somehow still alive, but that's been taken care of.
Man.
So
what a nice round by Frozen. That's a 4 kill from him.
It's clean.
And he runs for it as well. He jets it when it starts the plant. Unfortunately, he doesn't get it by the time the bomb goes down, but very nice hold.
That first kill
was be happy with the plant.
So much as well. Like, it just stops the T's from getting forward position. If they don't get forward position, it's just so hard to win the rounds.
We'll see. Common to buy here, getting the bomb down on the T side. See if Heroic feels the way. I like this because you know, when we buy on second round, like, yeah, sure, you can get a decent round, you can drop some weapons and AKs and stuff like that. The round that Heroic is doing now, where it's a half buy, you know, let's buy some deagles, let's try and do some damage. Sure, you're giving some more economy to the CT side potentially, but your 3rd round buy here on the T side, getting the bomb line, it's just going to be so strong. You're going to get everything that you want.
Well, here comes the push. Numbers game trying to just have a few that advance. Gressel will die it. Unmarked graves on the battlefield. Well, Borups picked up a Desert Eagle from one of his teammates. Some damage to be done here. Now, he could stay in his position and try and engage in some kind of 1 versus 1 down a tight channel. BMS will oblige him and shoot him in the face with the shooty gun. Round number 6 for mousesports. Successful CT side so far, but now the real game begins as Heroic are in for the bye.
Carrying is just honestly hard carrying right now. Sure, they're down 11-6. We need the other mousesports members here to wake up a little bit on the CT side. Full buy now though on the hands of Heroic. It's a good buy round from mousesports too. Just no AWP. Acadian does have one. So a little bit of a change of pace here. We compare that to mousesports T side. They did a lot of 2-1-2 defaults. Heroic's first weapon around here. 3 in T-Con, 2 Ivy. So we're looking for the smokes to fade here for Ivy guys to get in position. We're going to be taking over that left side, outside.
I mean, already this T side looks better from Heroic.
They're being choked out, to your point, Dan, right? Like, they have to take control somewhere, and they're being completely choked out here, mousesports. Like, they're forced to back up more and more towards the bomb side and ladder room, which means that Heroic is getting map control.
They've used pretty much all their utility as well, and these forward positions are starting to pay off as fights are forced. Acorn looking to try to create some kind of recovery. It's a great frag. He does have good anticipation. Even gets the dink on Tessus, but importantly, Tessus still lives. 4 versus 2 in favor of Heroic. Rops and Frozen need to be able to find at least a kill here before they being Heroic, get that bomb planted. And you can see Heroic are a bit tentative here. They have a lot of time, so they are just holding position. I love when teams do this, to try to see exactly what the response might be of the CTs. Is there a lurk somewhere? Is somebody going to misread the pace and overstep and we can punish it?
Oh, this is such a cheeky fake, because he's just running, right? And he has the 1 smoke left and he wasted inside to just fake. But I think Frozen here, as we pointed out, oh, by Borup getting that kill, actually, that might be the round win for him. But I was going to say, Frozen, I feel like, actually knew what was happening.
Oh, there's 10 seconds on the clock. What the hell?
He wins that. Oh, no. I can't believe that happened. You didn't need to do the fake there, the Heroic did. Like, the 1 smoke you have left, you want to use that to get the bomb down somewhere else. You had good positioning, but you used it instead to fake. And this is such a smart play from Frozen. You could argue, okay, Frozen, here's the step. Maybe he goes up and tries to kills that guy. But this is very smart play from Frozen, right? He sticks around. He knows we have a guy in there. Even if it goes down, puts himself in a position where this is possible. 15 seconds left on the clock. Gets the 2 kills. Getting the 3rd here. I mean, he didn't even need to get an eco. At this point, he just needs to survive, honestly. He would have still won the round. But this is such a cheeky round, man. This is what you need. This is a comeback. This is a great round from Frozen as well. He had a great pistol round, 4 kills from him, and here this is a 3 kill to win the round from mousesports. Talk about people getting activated, coming alive. Frozen is doing just that.
Yeah, that was amazing. That might be the thing to energize them and to wake mousesports up from their sleep, that sleepy first half that they just had. And I actually really loved the fake as well, honestly. I actually thought it was really, really cool to see that. You don't often see fakes like that. But Carrigan, he's pushed all the way through Team Main here. This is very brave, given the fact that, you know, the equipment's pretty poor for Heroic. Normally, you wouldn't necessarily make moves like this at this point in the round with everybody left alive. But he is walking slowly but surely onto the flank of the majority of the Heroic players.
Oh,
and
he gets
found the
spotted
bomb.
now. Yeah.
That's the bomb.
Of course, it's Cadian that peeks it too. That's, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, mousesports I think know as well that Heroic should be somewhat low on money. Like, the fact that Kerrigan does that, I mean, I like it though. We talk about, you know, them waking up, and they did not do a good job with the map control. So Kerrigan being a little bit more cocky here on the seat side and being a bit of a playmaker. I love to see that. And it's a very dominant round as well. 5 guys alive.
It's amazing how things have turned around based on that round from Frozen. It's utterly ridiculous. Just shattered Heroic now, who were threatening to just run away with the entire game here, but things have changed in a very, very big way. Although they are back on the bye. mousesports have reduced the deficit to 3. See if they can keep up their success now, mousesports. Bemis has had a tough game. Not too late for him to turn it around, though. 5 for 11 at present. Starting with 4 players on this A bomb site are mousesports. Be very aggressive. Hops towards the B bomb site. Rock's caught in the smoke now. What does Nico choose to do? Got 2 players towards Ivy who were delayed by a Molotov earlier on. See Bemis elevated again. Be a pop flash up top. Cadian will clear one side. Nico heads towards ladder room where Borup is.
So normally you'd say that in a 4v4 that the Ts have an advantage, but I think on a map like Train, especially with so much util left on mousesports, it's not as severe as other maps, because a part of the reason why that advantage might exist is because of rotation timings. And on Train, that's obviously a little bit different to some other maps. So that 1-for-1 there from Rops, I don't think is the worst thing in the world, especially given that Heroic here, they've only got a single smoke remaining and a couple Molotovs and 3 flashbangs. And they don't have position on a site yet. So it's going to be perhaps all of their utility just to get a site. And with that said, there's a lot of counter utility for mousesports and not much time on the clock. So mousesports are in a great position right now to defend this round. And you can see the desperation coming in. Heroic have to force the issue through the choke points, all of which are held. Frozen keeps fragging, and now the rest of his teammates are starting to get on the board as well. And that CT side of Train, it's so comfortable for a team like mousesports. Maybe, yeah, sure, that T side's a little bit awkward, but it's really easy to fall into some routines on this CT side, I think.
And that was the difference we saw yesterday in the C9 game with their new player, right? Like we saw their struggles a little bit on the CT side. I just love that mousesports are just cocky enough where they keep on pushing, right? Even pushing in inner there in a 4-on-4 situation, it just provides so much intel. Had they just played the bomb site there, chances are they would have just played 2-2 and would have been a much weaker hold for outside when Heroic actually makes this push. But we see on minimap here that they're all 4 here. We have one guy just very quick on the flank, and 3 members from Heroic just stands their positions waiting for it.
Yeah, it might force.
Comeback is real, might be.
It might force Heroic to start playing a lot quicker and maybe go to a more kind of set piece, like fast set piece style of play to sort of throw off mousesports, who seem to be kind of winning the slow pace right now. I feel like a change of pace is necessary here for Heroic.
I think we have a technical. We have 2 guys restarting their game. Maybe they're changing skins because we talked about it. They weren't happy with what they got.
After knife rounds, I always ask the captain to wait while I decide if I want to mix things up.
That's the one thing I wish that they would have fixed, like you could customize a little bit more. You don't have to disconnect.
Yeah.
Heck, even the whole thing with like the M4s, like I would love for it to just be like one of those things of them. I can't afford a A1 right now. I'm going to buy the silencer armor because I need it.
Yeah, I feel like what is the downside of that? Especially, I mean, if you look at how the game is now, I feel like it's really difficult on the CT sides and that would probably help them. Where there's just so much pressure from the T side, especially with more money, kind of benefits the higher pressure game. I feel like for the T's, but I don't know how you'd manage the slot numbers and so on. But you know, that's something that's definitely solvable. So
I don't know. I feel like if you have, I don't know. I feel like it's fixable, right? Like it must be if you press like buy menu and then 4, you get the rifle, and then you click on the, I don't know, A4, and then because you have this new option, you just get 2 options, right? You click 4 2 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
4 1 1. I have buy scripts, so I don't even know how to buy with the B and whatever. I don't even know. I think whenever I end up doing it now, because the CSGO has the scout where the I think AK used to be. So like it's always a misbuy of a scout.
that's a proper old school.
Yeah, it's super old school, man. Like,
I miss the text menu. That the option to have like a pure text menu.
Right,
yeah. You know, just like very, very, not that the wheel's necessarily like high impact or something, but I like the potato-ness of it. That was always one fun thing going to the tournament room at QuakeCon, is you could see just how insane everybody's setup was from one person to the next. They were completely different and kind of more restricted in CSGO in some ways. Always have the resolution though to show some personality, I suppose. 11-9, the gap is not that big now, and Karrigan causing some problems towards upper B. Very brazen play from Karrigan. We're seeing round after round. Robs wants to boost him down the ladder, apparently. Remainder of Heroic now, upper B.
Yeah, and this is another nice aggressive play from Karrigan. We see the buy from Heroic, and Staven has a Mac 10, so they were going to go for an inner execute here. Maybe not a rush, but they wanted to be quick by the time that they actually pulled off the execute. But they lost the member already, so 4 on 5. They're down on bomb site though. Haven't really spotted drops yet though. And here we go. Yep, looking to be another good hold from mousesports. As I say that, Beamos doesn't get that kill on Staven.
Down he goes. 3 players alive for mousesports. The gap is close to 1. Heroic, they will have mean intentions in this round. Karrigan currently 21 for 15, 7 ahead of anyone else on his team. 3 of his players in the single digits, while everybody is 10 or above on Heroic. They did start on the easier side, though. So we'll see how mousesports progress.
This would be the time to rein it in if you're Heroic. Oh, Cadian going down immediately there. That's some great pressure coming through with all that utility early on from mousesports. And they've got control of Ivy too. That Ivy smoke is really annoying, and it creates a window too where mousesports don't have to worry about that position really, and they can put their attention elsewhere. And speaking of which, Nico creeps upper, but Robs is cognizant of this possibility, able to defend that as well. And this is that thing I was talking about before. You're down 3 against 5 on the T side. You don't have options at this point. You just have to try to force the issue, and they're going to try to do so against A-Core. They're able to get him to reposition with all that utility, and he will get the bomb down. But what is the post-plant positioning like? There's not many options.
Rob's trying to find something with the AWP. Still a man advantage for mousesports. To exchange through the smoke, and Frozen gets the better of it. Storm that surely should have been a kill there. Really missed some opportunities now, and there are none left for Heroic in this round as mousesports will tie the score. 4 players alive. Really needed, as we can see. Rob's just on $1,000 at the moment. Bemis on 2.5. So this is much needed money to AWPs as well. Strong round for them.
Yeah, and 4 alive there as well. At least for getting the bomb down. I think they've had the most success here. The last 2 rounds. And again, we talk about just stringing rounds together and stuff like that. You know, one of the setups we could see here from, for example, Heroic last round with a semi-buy round, and then this round as well, they focus on inner, and it might just be a play for mousesports to try and focus that a little bit more for Heroic to get. Might find an opening for outside, hoping that they'll play a 3-2 setup here on the CT side this round. And they do a setup. Yeah, I was going to say, they do look at exactly what I was talking about, like the setup that they actually force themselves into, but they do a very quick round. So mousesports, all 4 members still here on the outside. So it's a full-blown chaos. 3-on-2 now, down to favor of mousesports.
That was a noble pre-fire attempt onto Acor, but he was ready for it. Down to a 2-on-2 now. Borup managing to catch Acor from Sandwich. Revenge is had. And that leaves Robson on 1 versus 2 with the AWP. Not sure where he is just yet, though. Having a look in that angle towards Olof. We'll see if he has a flick in him, as Cadian is threatening to peek from Ivy. Borup has to be real careful. Tagged, legged. Cadian doesn't have the angle for an instant trade. He hears Rops rotate, though, towards that A-bomb site. He knows he's tagged Borup. The pistol is out. Jumping off at the right time. That sound cue surely heard, but Cadian with the deagle from Old Bomb will put Heroic back in the lead. Maybe a little pressure was what was required. Heroic now on 12.
Yeah, this is something we didn't see from mousesports at all on their T side. Just a very quick round outside. You know, they get the entry on the ladder room there as well, but I do think it's from the setup as well that we talked about, the initial stringing rounds together with the 2 plays inner. mousesports had 4 members outside though, still, so it came down to just Heroic hitting the shots, but I like the change of pace. mousesports with a lot of money though, so it's another buy round for him. Again, we see Cadian trying to go down ladder room as well, getting the control there. Forces mousesports out of it, so Heroic technically now has ladder control, they just don't know about it.
That T-main position is always really important for the TT side. So much info. And here comes the push. I think mousesports know well and truly what's going on at this point. Nice defensive kill from Robs. That is huge. Even though he goes down, thinning out the numbers early on can be helpful. And does slow the approach for Heroic. And Frozen's timing on this flank is gonna be immaculate here as he comes in. There's Cadian, has absolutely no idea. Another freebie is offered up to Frozen, leaving Tessus and Storm alone in this one, and they are isolated away from one another. And their chances are looking quite desperate here. Storm able to get Frozen at least. He's still alive, still looking for ways to save this, but it's really not all that much for him to do. So
Cadian has no idea because he thinks Staven is holding flank, and the timing there just prevents him from holding it. I'm sure the call is made up like, yeah, I have flank now, because Staven was coming, I think, from Ivy T-Con area. Frozen was so quick though on the flank, so he misses him, which is what kind of leaves. We see minimap here. Look at what Staven is already now. You know, he's just walking past pop right now. So good timing from mousesports. Nice retake as well there. Rob's getting the entry, but not going to really help them in that situation. It's another, we talk about just the economy on the CT side, and they still have a lot of money left in their bank. So uphill battle from Heroic, but it's a good start here nonetheless. Another fast round.
With the fast death for Tessus. Early 5v4 for mousesports. Good control of the A-bomb site despite the smoke grenades, but reinforcements are coming for Heroic, and they're going just as quickly with Acor dropping Borup. Down he goes in the hands of Nico, the opening kill for Heroic. They've got a lot of work to be done here. Carrigan in the smoke will make things even worse. Bringing over towards Cadian. Stereo frags. Nico and Cadian going down, and things are getting more difficult for Heroic, as we can see. Still calm faces, though. But this is proving to be a difficult T-side for both teams.
Yeah, and I think for both teams, we haven't really seen these mid-round takes for outside either. We've seen the fast takes for ladder room. We've seen them being a little bit sloppy about it. Same on mousesports T side. We haven't really seen them try and take it after mousesports waste a little bit of smoke, so they have an easier time just getting some map control. But a timeout was called at least, so I think Heroic have been talking about it, trying to figure out a way through the mousesports defense. Not a lot of money here, so it's going to see a half buy. A lot of nades though, so we talk about buys like this. Obviously, again, we're looking for a round win, but added bonus, getting the bomb down, doing some economical damage on that CT side.
It feels like to me that the CT side of mousesports is better than Heroic's CT side, but Heroic were not up against a particularly great T side. I feel like Heroic's T side is better than mousesports T side.
I can agree, yeah. I can agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I can agree with that because I feel like Heroic on their CT side didn't really have to do much. You know, they just had to hold, whereas for mousesports, I do think that Heroic they're getting more map control, so mousesports do have to fight a little bit more to to get back the spots, even retakes and stuff like that. I think that we've seen more plans as well coming in from Heroic, and mousesports having to retake a little bit more.
And mousesports is
I
more active in general, like going for that team main control, those flanks, the aggressions, the Ivy shutdowns, the deep Ivy smokes. Yeah, they're just more active on the CT side too. Yeah, a really interesting dynamic. It looks really good for mousesports to win this map, which is, if you watch that first half, you'd be very surprised. But such is the life of Train.
Such is life of a caster curse as well. Gosh darn it. The Betway odds, man. You're gonna come back to haunt me. It's another inner execute. Just a default in the beginning, and at least this time around, mousesports are not pushing, so in terms of information play, they don't have it. So this could be at least a bomb plant, and could be an exciting round, nonetheless, for Heroic. But here we go.
A multi-man swing down the side. It's kind of a crossfire here for mousesports. Karrigan only good for one. They try to buy some time. No default plant coming in, and Heroic may look to spread further into this the bomb site, and indeed they'll do that, creating some space with the smoke. And the sweep from Tess, it's a brazen play. They are ill-equipped for this, Heroic, so risks must be taken. Now they've got a man advantage to mousesports.
Smart play by mousesports here. They just wait for the smokes to fade. Obviously, man advantage and also weapon advantage. Good run by Heroic nonetheless, getting the bomb down, but based on the round or based on the spend that they had, they only got Karrigan and getting the bomb down. I think that they would have probably hoped for a little bit more. And Karrigan dropping 30 here now. Great series by him so far.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
And he's been super active. That's what I really like watching Karrigan's team in general, because I think Karrigan just provides so much space and value, so much information when he does do these plays. I think having him frag at the same time, just, it's an extra benefit. But I think he does a good job with his teams. So you're 14-12 now. A fast round outside, trying to get some map control. It is a trade, so would argue it benefits the T's. Creates a little bit more space around the map. We're going to see the round slowing down here now a little bit.
Very dangerous position for Ops. They're up on the ramp. There is a lurk smoke the CTs like to throw. I think that was a molly smoke combo on that occasion, but essentially the same as a lurk smoke the CTs can throw. To creep up behind it, look over the top of it, or hide in that elevated position. Minutes on the clock in the 4v4. Tessa still above B. Just the AK, no grenades for him. And there's a fact-finding mission, but I was going to say it's poorly timed, but Frozen has the angle and Rops delivers as well. Things go from bad to worse for Heroic. Indeed, looked like a lock-in for this map in the first half, but it seems to be slipping away from them. Does he dare go through the smoke? What other options are there? Maybe to save for the next round.
Yeah, you save here, I think. You just don't have enough money, and then especially if you want an op for next round, you're not going to be able to afford it. So 35 seconds left. Sure, there's a lot of time to run down on the clock, but I do think that they're probably going to be going for it, but this is a very risky situation. We know that mousesports have two guys inner, and that's a shutdown. Yeah, I think mousesports just playing a very good CT side right now. Doing a really good job on the crossfires and the trade game as well.
They have a really good sense of Heroic's pacing on any given rounds, and they know sort of how to pace their own pushes to try to catch them off guard, and that's just such a strong way also to tackle a team that's defaulting. If you know which rounds they're defaulting and you know how to pace your push, it can be so difficult to recover after losing someone when you're mid default. mousesports are set up so nicely here. Aggressive take outside. That's going to be the call here for Heroic. Still unable to trade onto Bemis, and they're getting some ground. This is looking better here now for Heroic.
Yeah, it really is. They've got a man advantage for the time being, but when these smokes go, maybe variants will start. And there's Karrigan with a 2K, switches out for another weapon. Robs comes through as well as Acor. And just like that, things change dramatically, and mousesports turn it around in just a few seconds. Round of applause from Karrigan. That was quite a CT side from them.
Super dominant. Yeah, even at the last round there, I mean, we see it again. Karrigan just stepping up, getting the 2 kills there. Heroic not really clearing the bomb site, waiting for the smokes to fade. But mousesports, yeah, I think mousesports just being an overall. I think Dan kind of nailed it. I think Heroic's CT side was good, but I don't think that mousesports really put him to the test. Versus, I think Heroic was much more active on their T side, putting mousesports in a much more better position to kind of be a little bit more active around the map. So, but that's it for map 1. Mousesports take it 1-0 up. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back for map 2.
They are out there, waiting to be discovered. Some of them are big, and some of them are small. But that's the thing with ideas. They don't just come to you. To find them, you have to move. Kia, movement that inspires.
From the outside, who would know what lies beneath? Unleash it with a machine as savage as you are.
This is how legends are made.
Lenovo Legion. Stylish outside, savage inside.
We move to Vertigo. This is it's an interesting map. I enjoy playing it. I kind of do and I kind of don't. I don't because when I play it most of the time no one knows what they're doing, which is not enjoyable. But generally speaking, it's a mentally stimulating map. I think the A site can be difficult in terms of like spectator wise because there's a lot of smokes and sprays because of the lack of depth when you're on the site, when you're all on the level, because most of the depth is kind of top to bottom vertical, I suppose, as they would say. But anyway, we had quite the game of train. I think it was very entertaining from both CT sides and almost an upset towards the end, or maybe fair to say an upset considering how Heroic did in the first half. But indeed, this will be it should be quite an exciting map. Just going to have a look at the statistics. Currently,
has Vertigo been played this event so far, or is this going to be the first run around we get with the
I haven't seen every
007?
It's hard to say, bearing in mind there are 2 streams. I haven't seen any Vertigo myself.
We were talking about, I feel like Vertigo was played a lot, in the middle of 2020, but then at the end of 2020, especially now at the beginning, I don't think we've seen it being played as much as, one would have thought. We just talked about it in the break. I was saying like most teams now, when we talk about them being a little bit more skillful, even the tier 2 teams and tier 3 teams, we kind of see the tendencies of teams opting to play more strategical maps versus, the likes of the Dust 2s and even Mirage, right? We don't see a lot of Mirage nowadays either. And I think it comes down to just teams are getting much, much better. The odds for this map from Betway, Heroic now in favor. I can agree with this. I thought that they were going to be favored to win Train as well, but mousesports, to James' point, great CT side. We'll see if they can do the same thing on Vertigo here. I think this is a very difficult map to kind of be really good at. I think it's very inconsistent in the sense of like what people like to do. I think the meta kind of changes a decent amount of this on this map. We still see the tendency of like fighting for A control and stuff like that, but I think when we talk about Inferno, for example, Banana, I think that Vertigo A is kind of similar, where people now kind of just choose their battles over it. They just don't take it every time. They might be a little bit smart about it. And we see T's doing the same thing of, opting a little bit more for B and also mid at the same time.
These are the highlights from the previous map. Again, 10-3 in favor of Heroic, but I mean that round from Frozen in the second half, this round right here, I think was really key. 11-6. This was quite a turnaround because this was not a round they were supposed to win. That was supposed to be a comfortable 12th round from Heroic, and we could see that. I think Heroic did manage to get back into the lead early, but not for long. And then mousesports turned it around. So that turned out to be quite a brutal round for Heroic in that game of Train.
And I think you're right, James, because even if you think about that round of Frozen wins, if you look at where Heroic is watching, I think they're aware that he could be in ladder room, and that's that position they clear. But Frozen is so smart here, like he is in ladder, but he walks out, goes to E-box instead. Gives them much better position to actually get off with that. I mean, essentially it's a 2v4, but it turns out to be, 1 versus 4. He gets 3 kills and time runs down.
Just that one.
But yeah, we see it. Yeah, just a 1 round. Very dominant CT side, and it's not like Heroic wasn't very active. I mean, I think that they tried a lot of things, but it really comes down to, and I mentioned it as well, when we think about bomb plants and we think about the round progression, I did note as well that Heroic did have much more playing field. They get the bomb down a little bit more. They got to play after plants a little bit more versus mousesports on their T side. Only got the bomb down, I think, twice, and that's about it. So I think, overall, I think very, very good first map. Nice to see mousesports being active again with Aiko there. I think we're going to jump to a quick break, and then we're going to be back with map 2.
They are out there, waiting to be discovered. Some of them are big, and some of them are small. But that's the thing with ideas. They don't just come to you. To find them, you have to move. Kia, movement that inspires.
We're back.
Indeed, we are. It's almost time for the dizzying heights of Vertigo. See what if there are any new grenades for me to learn. There's a lot of man. That's gonna be like.
We
Probably-
noted there was a one-way on train. I don't know if you saw that the last round on the stop sign. I think mousesports played that. You couldn't see, and that's why when Heroic was running out ladder room there, they couldn't spot the guy that they were shooting at him. It was Beamus, I think. Later one-way on the stop sign. There's some cool smokes still. Not a fan of one-ways in general. I think a lot of problems with the smokes in this game.
Yeah, one way's too gimmicky for my liking, and if you use it at the right time, it can really crush a situation. Maybe somewhat unfairly, but again, if it's the way the game is, you've got to abuse it if you can. But a bit too cheesy, for my liking. I feel like more consistent play is more stimulating to watch at the very least, but maybe in future they can do something about it. And again, the odds, Heroic are going to be a favorite in going into Vertigo, 1.72. I think they're 80% versus 30-ish, if I remember correctly. But the sample size for both is so small that the percentages aren't really that relevant. 80 to 33 with 5 maps and 3 maps played respectively. So that's not really, can't really put too much stock into that, to be honest.
And I love the fact that we're still in January, because obviously like the break does a good amount in terms of just play style and stuff like that. So kind of get a chance for having the reset, coming back from the break. Sure, I think some of these teams played Blast, but getting a sense for how these teams have progressed, and especially with some of these teams making roster changes, the ones that didn't, they got some more practice time as well on their hands. It's going to be fun to see if Vertigo has developed at all during the break, or if we're going to kind of see the same style.
I feel like it was a map that grew. I mean, when it came out, there's so many changes, like every week, and I remember so much frustration, especially from players and coaches. And I remember seeing Zonic tweet. It had to be more than once, where he's like spending loads of time working out different grenades and strategies and tactics on the map, and then the map changes fundamentally in some way.
They do that with all. It's frustrating because they do that with all the maps, right? Because look at Overpass, look at Cobblestone that was active. They changed that map as well, like every 6 months. And Overpass is not even similar to how it first was when it first launched. And so I think that they also like launched maps with, it's not even, but let's see how the map runs. Let's make changes like actively. But I can agree, on a Sonic standpoint as well. Like I do think that having the changes, it does opt for the map not to be as stale, maybe. But maybe you could make the argument of like maybe you do that change of a map maybe like 1 or 2 years down the line. Pistol round is live though. Heroic starting on that T side. It's a fast round rush towards the B bomb side. Good hold so far. But it's not over yet. As I say that, though, makes it a 4-on-2. Smokes down, though. It's Cadian and Stavin alive. And they both go down. mousesports continue their CT dominance on Vertigo here, first round. On Vertigo.
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 Definitely improved for me in terms of a watching experience over a lot of those changes. I think it did find its place. And I kind of like the feel of the map.
I think it was just so boring when people like the whole thing of we went 95% A and like people couldn't figure out how to hold it, like you had to push, and the retakes with the smokes and stuff like that. I think NIP's approach when they first started with the retake smokes and stuff like really added a more depth to the map, and it taught them more teams kind of how to play it. So because of that, I agree, like this map is a little bit more fun now. Like because it's so quick on the rotates, like you can do a lot with it on T side. And same thing goes for the CT side. Not getting the bomb down on Heroic, forces them on a full eco. We'll be buying next round, but this should be a pretty easy round for mousesports. Bonus here of not having any members going down, so they get essentially a bonus round for next.
Looking to invite mousesports to spend some money on utility. Very expensive incendiaries, $600 for the CTs. It's a lot of monies. So a smoke like that can be common on the T side, bounced off the A site sign to help them get up towards the side and look over the smoke, especially when that normal CT smoke is down at the beginning of the round. We'll see if that plays a part in the later rounds. For now, it's Nico remaining, looking for a second kill here, but he's actually going to get it just before Rox's flank comes in. A labored kill from him. but it's actually Acor who gets the kill eventually. Lots of burst attempts, but not making enough of a connection. It's really annoying to get a kill through the floor if you're underneath that position on the side where Tessus is on the X-ray right now. Someone's above that. It's just the worst.
I mean, there are that whole area I feel like is a little bit buggy because there's some spots that you don't even do damage when you're trying to shoot them and you still see them and stuff, and it's just like, god damn it, like please fix this. Well, I guess Rops went down. I was gonna say we didn't see any upgrades, but oh my god, the L kick to Cadian. I mean, that wasn't even intentional. The fact that he gets them there, mid-air, running gun, fully flashed. It's gonna be a fast A ramp take, at least from Heroic. Normally we don't see teams just running straight to the bomb site, but they do like to take control of this a little bit early.
Oh, it's a war of attrition around the side of the A bomb site. Short, if you will. It was a 5 versus 3 for a time, but Karrigan will make something happen here. You can see Rob's trying to keep an eye on mid, but also looking towards the B bomb site. He's holding down 2 jobs, and he looks to commit more towards B as mousesports are on the rotation, it seems, if you look at the radar. Can't hold everything now with just 3 players. He's spread too thin. So it seems they'll commit to something. Try and make a play here, which Rogue may be waiting for. On the timing.
Yeah, Bemis with like the right eye and distance advantage there against Storm. So it's good that Storm backed off. I don't think he would have won that fight. And 3 versus 3 now after that kill from Robs. Pretty well played from Robs, you know, to hold down that side of the map by himself. 20 seconds for the plant. Couple smokes remaining here for the CTs, so they have a lot to work with to retake this. Oh, great pick off from Karrigan. He's going for it. A second kill found as well, making life very difficult now. Wow, I'm surprised that Karrigan went so deep for those kills. Again, given the fact that they had two smokes left with 20 seconds remaining, ready for the retake. That's amazing.
A lot of teams talk about it now. I don't know if there's a change, but I'm sure that maybe some people are starting to notice it more and more. I think the smokes were great, potentially, had they not had been there when the bomb was going down. But as soon as he starts planning, essentially it makes it a 2-on-3 situation, right? Because the bomb planner can't do anything. So them going aggressive right off the bat there and saying like, let's just go for the plant call. That means that you create more space for the CT side there to actually get the retake done. I'm surprised about Heroic that they get nice entries, but they kind of fall back and they lose map control. And sure, by the time that their 4th member goes down, they're forced to just rush up on A, but they're not in a position to just get in the good spots and get the bomb down because they were all the way down still on A ramp. So they fought for it, but they left it, which was a little bit weird. Normally you fight for it, you leave at least 1 member there and you can go back in mid and B and stuff like that to do fakes, but nice done from mousesports, being a very aggressive.
That is an incredibly cheeky frag from Rops. And let's not forget how he started on Train. Despite it being a tough T side, early on there were some sparks of brilliance and rabid aggression. Chain of pop flashes, bomb spotted and swatted. Down it goes. Previously in the hands of Borup. Tessus and Thorn remain. There's a flank from Karrigan as well. Got a great sense for the game, Karrigan. And when to take liberties and make a very aggressive play. 5 versus 1. No respect being shown by mousesports on the CT side thus far. As they head towards 4. Not much money in the hands of Heroic, as we can see. A lot of them very close to $0 before this round ends. Off angle from Karrigan, not holding the tight corner, but just off to the side. And that's a very comfortable 4-0. A mousesports side full of confidence.
Yeah, and I would imagine that this is going to be the best way for mousesports to start is on the CT side. I can't imagine we're going to see anything amazing from their T side, especially as this is not necessarily a map that they particularly play a lot compared to some of their other maps in their pool, as well as the fact that Acor's in there. So it feels like mousesports to win this map, they're going to have a pretty big CT side, and this is a great way to start that off. So Heroic, they got to find a way to get things going, and sooner rather than later. I'm liking the confidence so far today from Karrigan. He's always had a lot of flair to his play.
That's what I was talking about. That little spot there you see there, like
Very
sure,
hard, isn't it?
yeah, there's 10 damage being made. There's a little bit of gaps here and there, but very frustrating spot to start shooting at. I'm sure Kerrigan was like, I don't know, he's either maybe low or like, why is he dying?
At some point,
Trade
you
at
just
least.
ignore the guy there if neither of you have an AWP and focus elsewhere. Just nod to each other. I suppose it's by design. I would imagine they probably made it more spammable, and it was just too frustrating. So I guess it's frustrating in a different way now.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
technically, you can argue that the whole side should be spammable, because if the yellow fence there is spammable on the one side, then technically, it's not full concrete, right? It's just like little steel beams with holes.
I've fired almost an entire magazine at someone from pretty much directly above them and not killed them in that spot. I got killed by another guy, I guess the problem is it feels counterintuitive.
Because same thing here, it's the same kind of railing here, but here you do damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here you kind of do full damage. So I don't know. I would then rather have them change the material there, so just it's consistent with like what's wallable and what's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the main problem is it's counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense in one's brain. Echo flashed off his position.
And this is what we talk about, the change of pace on Vertigo, kind of what we've seen, the difference of Heroic has been fighting a lot on A, and normally the tendency there is that you're expecting CTs to play maybe 3 towards A, but here, the setup here from Mousesports is that they are a little bit closer to mid. We have Rops and CT spawn here as well, so they are contesting this. 3-on-3 though. B bomb site is the one that they want.
There's enough of the steel girder to allow BMS to throw that smoke and peek afterwards, but won't get what he was looking for. Borup and Frozen remain now. Frozen elevated in that mid position. No grenades left for Borup. Quick peek though, spots Frozen. Can't quite land the fatal connection, however, and Mousesports retain a clean sheet. 6-0 on the CT side of Vertigo. Not many kills for Heroic. Only Cadian has more than 2. So this has been a very difficult T side for them so far.
It was interesting. Frozen at the end of that round in that 1v1, I think there was maybe 40 seconds on the clock. He had a full set of nades still. I think that just goes to show that on Vertigo, on the CT side, teams are really looking to hold on to that utility for retakes.
Yeah, you have the setup, right? So you either just very much like I always use the example of Inferno B, right? Like you either spend the nades early, you take map control early, and you just start trying to kind of fight for it down in A ramp, or you don't spend a lot, right? And you use the damage nades like HEs and stuff like that. You try and do chip damage, you try and do some damage to hit the site, and then to your point, Dan, right? Like if they hit the A bomb site there, the intent should be that we have mollies and smokes left, and at least 1-2 flashbangs we can pop flash in and retake the bomb site. It does create a lot of like cool depth. I'm not sure how many people kind of that's watching had a chance to watch Tuscan, but it had a little bit more depth as well, especially in Source. With the retake scenarios and maybe opting a little bit more to leave the bomb site and play after plants and stuff. And you see the same thing on Vertigo. You can leave the A bomb site completely if you want and play retake. Same on Dust 2 seat side on the A bomb site. Gives teams a chance to show their teamwork and comms with retakes. I think it's always exciting to see nice crossfires and executes. This is a nice little execute from Heroic down the B bomb side. It is a half buy. Deagles and nades. As I say though, the BMS is just okay.
That line he was holding through the fight was so important to shred the numbers as they swung, tried to trade frag, ran straight into the bullets. That significantly turned things around. Kind of curious to see how far this clean sheet can go. And he does keep it going in that round. So this line here, you can see the 2-man swing there. Continuation spray. Not even sure if he knew anything about that second kill.
Did Heroic have smokes there? Were they just further behind? Or did they not have smokes, just a pop flash?
I don't have the answer to your question, Robin. I'm not sure. No smoke on the ramp now from Mousesports. So there are two versions of this smoke we're seeing on the side. One of which allows you to see people's legs behind. I don't know how Acorn managed to survive that. Who knows where that bullet went?
Behind the legs. Between the legs, rather.
Around the legs.
Around.
New science.
Typical James Bond fashion. Maybe it's Star Wars this time around. It's the...
Yeah.
Slow default here now. We talked about it to our point here when we mentioned of the different CT setups. This is an either a mid-round setup from mousesports where they will take over a ramp now when they kind of spot, and that's exactly what we kind of see, right? Some pop flashes and stuff. By the time the Heroic actually has a little bit more ramp control. But now they fall back, and now it's a full retake. And we see that on nade setups as well. Rops with Molly, Kerrigan with Molly, and we have smokes as well. So really the setup here should be to focus a little bit on mid and just wait for Heroic to kind of start their way up towards this A-bomb site.
Acorn heard that Molotov, last tick of it, touched somebody, got out of there immediately. From above the ladder room, actually, you can do a Molotov that bounces off the window to clear out the corner position, which Frozen is pushing right now. There's some pop flashes as well to allow the T side to swing. There'll be flashes now as the bomb site is lost. Heroic may have a chance to get their first brand on the board after 7 failed attempts. Man advantage as bomb gets planted. In terms of retaking utility, we've got a Molotov and a flashbang for mousesports, so it will be quite difficult. All too often we see the smokes up and plenty of spray. Cadian and Storm are very low, excuse me. Now 10 HP now, pushing forward. Point of no return. The trades will be to Heroic's advantage as Cadian looks for a flick. Falls away now, changes his angle. Acorn's elevated, but not for long. Down he goes, leaving Robson a 1 versus 3, trying to invite players. It's going to be an expensive round, and he could do with saving this AWP, but I'm not sure if he can get far away enough. He can't, because Borup will secure the first round for Heroic with a kill.
Yeah, and to your point there, James, the retake setup, I mean, it was happening, but the 2 guys that ended up dying from mousesports were the 2 guys with the smokes. So when they went down there, the retake is essentially like a lot more harder. And for Heroic, I kind of like the setup that we kind of see, because the retake setup is very real now with the smoke walls and stuff like that. We see Heroic being a little bit more aggressive on their after plant positioning and wanting to go for a little bit more duels. Pretty common. I'm very worried about, you know, the flashbangs and smokes and just diffusing through the smoke. That's the first round on the board for Heroic.
Yeah, they need to try to string some more together, and that's a great start to that effort. We'll see the response from mousesports. As you know, we've been talking about really holding on to their nades as much as possible. Ooh, just trying to walk into the angle, Storm ready for that one. No mid push for mousesports. A 3 versus 5 now. You'd say that from a position like this, the ability for mousesports to win the round has really plummeted dramatically. But still being slowed down, just, you know, because they've been able to hold on to some of those nades. Even though there's just 3 of them left, they're able to still delay.
Yeah, and despite them being 7-0 up as well, it's just a very important round from Heroic here. If we talk about a comeback, this would put mousesports on a potential save if they were to lose this round. It's a good setup here, though, from Heroic. We see, you know, Staben, he doesn't need to go aggressive here. Literally just needs to hold this spot for potential pushes. And then here we should see the play, and then Staben now should be making his move in mid for timing here. Does go down, though, but doesn't really matter now. Heroic does have the entire A-bomb site. No nades left except for a smoke on VMAS. We should be seeing a save call coming in on the hands of mousesports, knowing as well that they don't have a lot of money left. So saving an AWP and an M4 would be an added bonus, because a double save is definitely happening here.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, actually, that when they're in the 3 versus 5, just looking at the fact that Heroic still had the ability to go anywhere, there's still a lot of utility remaining, and it kind of felt like there's a very strong argument for mousesports to actually just save in a 3 versus 5, just go towards mid, or, you know, give yourself the option to play super defensively so you can hold onto those guns. So you'd at least be able to like save with those in the next round. And we can see here actually that Robson Beamers will be able to carry AWPs through to the next round. So if they could have supplemented that with an additional rifle, could have had a lot to work with.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things of, because I think players, when you then give them a call, I think they're just so drilled into like, oh, we're doing this call, even if members are going down. So I think it's very difficult in situations like that to, you know, call for a save, right? That's really where you're expecting the coach or maybe even Kerrigan to jump in and be like, hey guys, like it's not going to be winnable. We don't have any nades left. Like we should just save. We don't have money. Might be experience, might be, you know, bad comps in some sense too. But yeah, they do end up saving 2 weapons at least. Have a tactical timeout. Guessing maybe on the hands of mousesports. We'll see what they have in store for us here with the buy that they'll have. Like I said, it should be a double save, but since they saved 2 ops, we could potentially also see a full buy. Yep, it's exactly what we're seeing here from mousesports. So still not a free round for Heroic. Still have to fight for this one, but the next few rounds then should be a little bit easier to grab after that.
Curious what they'll try to do with. I mean, because they don't, as you've mentioned, that they've made some concessions in terms of a lack of utility, and it's going to be difficult to play a longer drawn out round. But at the same time, you have these AWPs. It's harder to get aggressive with them. So I feel like mousesports in that sense have been pulled in 2 different directions in terms of their options.
Yeah, you talk a little bit more to your point, Dan, because you don't have enough nades for a full retake setup. You kind of talk about, you know, let's try and go for an entry or do some mid-round aggression with the flashbangs we have. And always we kind of see that it's working out, right? Like, Kerrigan was very aggressive early. He gets the entry, and then after that, it's just all, oh, he still keeps on pushing. I'm not, okay. 5-on-3 situation. Sure, we want map control, but you had 26 HP. Leaves it in a 4-on-3 now with, you know, Heroic still having a lot of utility here. So I would still say this is still a pretty good spot. As I say that though, Heroic decides not to even flash clear any angles. So Robs is just getting 2 easy kills here.
He's changed his spot up now for what could be the final frag. Oh, he's shot the bag on the back, but he's not part of the hitbox. But BMAC will get the spray towards the end. That's one of the things about the, I don't know if either of you are familiar, but like the highest tier Ts in the new operation, right? They all have the money bag backpacks on. So for me, in a way, they're unusable because they just give your position away. Of course, they're the stock models on this map. So yeah, that led to a quick shot and a miss, a swing and a miss. Anyway, that's a topic for a different day. We've got a fast round from Horizon. They look for a third team in no man's land. 2 of them only good for 1, but Acor, that was such a fast kill from him. HG hits the ceiling. Brock's trying to do what he can. This is absolute anarchy. Frozen makes his way through CT spawn. He's got support as well from Acor.
Oh, but the bomb
versus Sniper. Acor switches out for the M4A4. And indeed, the bomb is the other side of these flames. And it seems that Acor will reset the situation and change his position. But once that bomb's collected by Nico, he could go anywhere as well.
Man, this is really one of those spots where, you know, both of these players, they knew where they were. Acor being very smart here. Walking all the way around. So we'll see where Nico ends up doing. Obviously, with Nico, it's always going to be a gamble here, 50-50. You have no idea where Acor is anymore. Oh man, it's such a nice play from Acor. I was gonna say from Heroic there, that mid-round take that we kind of see, I think it would have been much more successful. We kind of see the round that mousesports wanted to do, and it wasn't an A take. They were playing a little bit more retake scenario on the A bomb side, which meant that they had 3 guys in mid. Normally, you tend to do these fast mid takes after you've played a few rounds on A and, you know, made sure that mousesports are, you know, opting to put more members over there. It was a bow or it's a low buy nonetheless, so full AK buy here now. AWP on Cadian.
Kerrigan, the aggression continues. He's been creeping through the smoke, using all the bullets. Got Frozen for support as well. Kerrigan goes down eventually. Running out of bullets as well. Will give Borup an invitation to get another kill and at least try and keep it close. 2 versus 3. Make it 2. Nichols dropped on the A bomb site. Flashes, swings from Demas. We've got Storm trying to stay alive again. The backpack giving the position away, and then there's a swing from Borup, but Demas is ready for it. A fast round, but it's double figures for mousesports. 10-2 of Heroic.
And this again, I would say it's a little bit sloppy from Heroic. Kind of expecting mousesports not to play down in A ramp. Sure, they've been playing defensive rounds, but not really expecting that they could be down there. Puts them in a bad spot nonetheless. It's close rounds, you know, they make it down to two on twos and stuff like that. And we see that on mousesports money as well. Like there's been some rounds that Heroic can absolutely have run away with. But mousesports has continuously been winning these close rounds. And more entries on the way for mousesports. 5 on 3. It's only been 15 seconds of this round so far.
Nico able to find Bemis though to make things a little bit better. Karen creeping all over the place though. He's going to be finding Nico, and that's not a good prospect here, especially now that Cadian's fallen. Cadian almost got onto the site. That would have been pretty awesome. And Heroic can't seem to find their footing whatsoever on this map. I feel like we haven't even seen many retakes. Like, compared to what you'd normally, I feel like you would often normally see on Vertigo.
I think mousesports just have the number. If you look at all the rounds that Heroic have tried to do, mousesports every single time have had a good read of stacking members on where they wanted to go. So I don't think we've seen that many tactical timeouts coming in on Heroic's hand here, maybe 1 or 2, but I would have loved to see maybe a little bit more timeouts. You know, let's talk about it a little bit more. It's not like mousesports is just pushing everywhere and just taking a lot of map control. It comes down to like Heroic wanted to fight for space early, and they're not winning those duels. So slowing down the pace here a little bit, see what mousesports is doing in the round, count some nades and see if an A play is possible. If they're keeping their nades, maybe we go for a B split or a B execute late round instead. But it's another half buy here, just Eagle armor. Some nades on Cadian and Staven, but they're being wasted right now to take some mid control. And good positioning here again. And it comes down to, just because mousesports haven't really felt threatened on the B-bomb side at all, most cases Rob's done a really good job in defending that area, so putting a lot more emphasis on mid, and it's paid off for him. Heroic's gone twice in mid, I think, and mousesports just been ready for it.
And getting dismantled round after round. This is looking very solid for mousesports indeed. Last round of the first half. We'll see what Heroic will bring to it in terms of tools. Again, this is, well, again, small sample size, but 80%, 4 of 5 maps won on Vertigo for Heroic. Maybe the numbers bigger than they would otherwise seem. Again, fast pace, flashbangs. Agent time for the time being. Spotted over the grill by Carrigan, but traded by Nico. 4 versus 2. Maybe there's a third round in this for Heroic just yet. Acor and Bemis remain. Acor taking some heat damage, if you will. Elemental damage. And noise is cut by Heroic beyond the reload of a gun. Not wanting to squander their man advantage on this occasion.
Yeah, they've got so much utility to work off of too, so they should be so fine to not have any accidents happen. I'm super curious.
Too, for mousesports, not a lot of nades left.
Ooh, if Acor gets a pick, it does feel a lot more doable.
I think Heroic's been smart here though. When we see where the kind of gate came from, they know normally, you know, even in a retake setup, you have the opera just holding the A ramp. So coming from the scaffolding area, probably a little bit smarter, a little bit safer at the same time. I think this has not been many plans here on this side for Heroic. One of the few after plans that they're getting. 4-on-2 situation though. All the nades have been left now on mousesports, nothing left, so now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Trying to do a little ninja diffuse through the smoke, but not going to happen. Oh, what? Okay.
Noble effort. A noble effort from Acor towards the end, but it will be 3 rounds for Heroic at half time. Is there anything left in the tank for them? We'll find out after the break.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of surprises, we're back, and it's a 12-3 scoreline in favor of mousesports. Very dominant CT side. Heroic not really getting into the game at all. I think only 2 or 3 plants at most, and sure, they won the last round. We can see if they can come back here. We said the same thing about Train, so this is Heroic's map pick, but uphill battle for sure.
Very quiet stuff. Rops is the one man with grenades, and he is not with his team just now. Got 2 flashes and a Molotov. There's 1 flash. Good from the mid position. But Borup and Strong will deliver. But Bemas and Akel will turn things around 3-on-3. Made 2 as Bemas is dispatched of. mousesports want to extend their lead, but Heroic have got to say about that. Adding some headshots with the Glock, but not being finished off just yet. Hold on a second. Rops versus Tesses. Glock versus the USP. We need more than 1 shot from that range, Rops, even if he lands a headshot. But now 79 HP for Tesses. Even that will change. Waiting for the drop. Spots the shadow. Knows where he is. But can he land that fatal connection? No. Much needed pistol goes the way of Heroic and Tesses. God, that must have been nervous for Heroic.
Well, it's the start of the comeback. 12-3 is the Sonics assess that. 11-4, 12-3s. Most dangerous scorelines.
Yeah.
I can see it, especially when you lose to a pistol round like this, and if you don't get the rounds after. 3 weapon rounds is no joke.
Yeah, definitely not. It's
This is
going to be. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, we don't normally see this from the T side. We don't get the bomb down. This is a little bit of a gamble buy from mousesports. And we see that as well. Full buy, Deagle armors. Galil was dropped, I think, 4 Robs there. But with this buy, they're hoping, honestly, they were hoping to prize Heroic a little bit. Get a quick entry or 2.
So there's that smoke I was talking about. Frozen bounced off the wall. Normally when the CT smoke the ramp, you'll sometimes see a team use that. Gives them a route to the position where the CTs are currently holding in TSS. Very aware of what that smoke means. Got a bounced smoke of his own, which actually connects with Frozen. That was on purpose. Oh, mousesports having some issues now. And Heroic look to secure their second round in the second half. To bring their score to 5. No kills for mousesports just yet. Frozen and Bemis remain. Still a fair amount of time on the clock here. And some bomb plant potential. Both lurking around B. Looking for a boost now. Maybe there were some sound cues because Nico seems to have an idea. Oh, that was easy dealt with. He's frozen to phase 3, trying to fall back, and maybe there's damage to be done now. Hold on a second. Still 20 seconds. Borup's low, and he put a Deagle out. Does he have time to reload now? Does he want to die on his sword here? 4 HP and $650. He is carrying a lot, and he will drop a lot. 5th round for Heroic.
I kind of feel like I feel like overtime's like a likely prospect. Just sort of thinking about how things went on Train. Just how lost mousesports found themselves on Train on the T side. And given that this is a map that Heroic, they do like playing this map. They've got a great success rate on this map. It does feel like that is on the cards, but we'll have to see if they can, get that momentum first, and that's really what it's about. It's about mousesports, first like 2 or 3 gun rounds, just them not finding the right answers. Crashing towards A, easily dealt with. Of course, it is just some deeks.
I don't know why you do. Like, it's one of those things that, like, you're a little bit too cocky, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to spray through the smoke. They're on eco, you have an SMG. Like, if anything, I would even prefer to just run through the smoke with the flash, rather than do that.
Right, yeah. There's like this sense of safety that you think you have, and you could get that lucky kill, and it's not worth it. Especially with
there's so
like,
many people that does that, like the tendency of like shooting through smokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be careful. The closer you are to the smoke, the easier it is to punish.
I feel like Robson and Acor could win this. You know, like these two guys with the Eagles, it just takes that one kill, a bit of extra position, space to find the plant, pick up a smoke, perhaps.
Oh my god.
That shot and another one coming through from Acor, and this is what we're talking about. Oh, Acor is going for another one. He is feeling it, but he's left Robson at 2 versus 1. 1 versus 2. He doesn't have the time, unfortunately. Had Acor maybe stayed alive, maybe Ross would have had some space to work with. But that's a lot of damage economically. If nothing else, that was a huge win for mousesports.
Yeah, never count out the Deagles. Holy moly. No armor as well. All you need is some nice 1 Deags.
The jiggle peeking from Acor in that round was extremely difficult to deal with from everyone else's perspective. Well, they've laid some groundwork to capitalize on that a bit later. And the wide swing from Acor, making it look very easy indeed. Going for the third one, not quite hitting the mark.
He would have landed that too if it was for the crouch. That was right on the head for the third.
Well,
but yeah, it comes down like that was a much close round. Sure, Acor, nice round there, but you could argue that maybe, you know, Kaden go down early there. Kind of had maybe some of the outcome there. Nice early start here from Heroic. Fighting for the A ramp that we talked about. And we saw the same thing on the mousesports side, on that CT side, but they had a little bit more. They also had just as much of a success. So not a good start here from mousesports on the T side. 5-on-3. A lot of nades still left though, but hoping for a mistake here from Heroic.
Yeah, it's the second round in a row where Heroic have got some kills at the bottom of the ramp. Of course, one of those was Eco, but definitely know their angles around these smoke grenades, so these are warning sign for mousesports in the round to come. Rops has made an entry onto the B-bomb site. Separated for now with utility. 55 seconds on the clock for mousesports. And these chain flashes are very successful. Nico dropped and still unable to reply, but on the second attempt, down goes Frozen. 2 versus 3 in favor of Heroic. Trying to buy some time with flashes, but the bomb has been planted.
A lot of damage being done here as well. On mousesports, 13 HP on Robs, 39 on Beamus, stuck on the bomb site. An added bonus at least, they got the bomb down, so like they fall for the site. But this is a very, very tough situation to be in if you're Robs. 1-on-3 now. Diffuse is on. He does spot the barrel. Oh my god, okay. For some reason there, I mean, in another reality, right, another dimension, that could have been a triple kill. Non-scope triple kill. Shoots the operator, gets all 3 instead.
Yeah, and right now it already feels like mousesports are finding more and more ways to gain more and more ground on this T side, more so than Heroic. It feels like they're more dangerous than Heroic were. That mousesports were able to eke out those picks and find those frags in ways in which, you know, it relies more on that individual element, but that's working for them. Whereas Heroic, I think, had a more tactical approach on their T side, and it wasn't quite hitting the mark as they'd like. However, at the beginning of this round, as we can see, Acor's not going to find too much love towards the A ramp. Tess is holding it down as well, but Karrigan forces the issue, actually wins that battle somehow. And that's going to create a lot of opportunities, I feel like, for mousesports here. There's lots of time on the clock for them to play with, to really exploit this man advantage. That said, it's a man advantage it is no longer.
Yeah, I do wonder between these two teams who this favors now, because Cadian's been prolific in these early rounds on the A-bomb site, on and around the A-bomb site, and indeed, Heroic have been catching up pretty damn quickly. There's another one for Cadian, finally taking some significant damage though. Plenty of sound cues, which allows mousesports to go up the ramp somewhat cheaply. They know he's fallen back, not how far exactly, but definitely giving him some breathing room. Utility heading up, the rotation coming through for Heroic. Still with a man advantage. Now there they plant the bomb. There's a great incendiary to delay. Used to be able to wallbang that spot through those orange boxes, but I think that was removed many moons ago. Another flick from Storn and BMS now, and a 1 versus 3. Worst case, he's got to do some more damage if he can. More smokes are up, and that can invite variance for either side. Limited variance that Beamers can take, though. CT starting to swing. Got to get into the trade back situation. There's a nice burst on the first player. Cadian, he's low. 1v1 now as Forup is around that smoke. Not using the bomb just yet, but it's their time to defuse it. I think he's got it. Just about.
Oh man, such a close round. To answer your question, James, you can still wall the default bomb plant. You can wall the left one. To my knowledge, that was way too close for comfort. Still around on the board from Heroic, so we talk about the comeback. It's still very much alive. 12-8 now. mousesports with yet to get another round on the T side. 5 in favor of Heroic here so far. Money though is not looking great. It's been a lot of close rounds. So and I think mousesports knows it. It's going to be one of those half where we're probably going to be just seeing continuous buys if CT's going to be this low on money. So wow, he gets away.
Yeah, he's falling back. He's able to do so safely, and he might actually get a pick off of this. It's unfortunate, but his teammates are able to capitalize. Cadian on the other angle, and mousesports maybe regretting that mid push, struggling to gain ground, struggling to really do anything at this point.
I've never seen Cadian look better with the AWP than he does at the moment. No hesitation.
That's what I mean. I feel like the break, for him last year, he's been around the block for a long time. But I do think that this team, and especially Cadian, had a breakout year last year. He's been very consistent. He's been one of the best performers as well on that team. Very smart player overall. Just the fact that he started adding a little bit more, cockiness to his arsenal. I think he used to be a little bit more passive in his early stages, but have a lot more space in this team.
They've brought this back so fast, and these AWPs are absolutely dominant for Heroic. Almost uncontested. And if you look at the money on Heroic in this round, it's a key round for mousesports. If they can break their money, just get them off these AWPs, it could potentially be a very different half, but they're unable to do so ultimately. And they find themselves on pistols again.
And we see the same thing. We see the tendency on Train as well, right? mousesports were struggling on their T side on Train. So was Heroic. Same thing here on this map now. We had Heroic struggling on their T side on Vertigo, and we kind of see the same for mousesports. So I think both of these two teams showing some nice moves here on the CT side, but definitely have been struggling getting control of getting some T rounds on the board. Half by now from mousesports. No nades, just deagles and armors. Again, we talk about economy, so this is just trying to keep doing some damage on Heroic, keeping their economy low.
I wonder if with the models on this particular map, with the loot bags on their back, if they could, if players use those to deliberately make shots, because it's not part of their hitbox. If you can just show that by rotating and basically going arse first in a jiggle to bait a shot. I wonder how many people would fall for that. Nico's fallen into the deagle from Frozen.
It's a good start. They still don't have any nades though, so getting a bomb site and getting a bomb down is going to be difficult. But just the fact that they have armor here, I mean, all it takes is one shot to the dome. And we kind of know as well, they don't have mollies, and Borup is in a great spot here. We'll see if they're going to clear him out. And even Tessus is here at the same time. So this is going to be a very difficult push for mousesports without any nades. A headshot needs to be in order, but it's not going to happen. Great hold from Heroic. Nice crossfire.
Well, it's starting to get a little bit scary. That's for certain. And sort of that, do you get a sense that mousesports are sort of struggling to find the right approach here? Because it feels like for me that there's been some situations where it just comes down to winning that one extra fight, and I feel like mousesports have shown that there's a lot of individual capacity to do that, but they just haven't quite had the fortune go their way just yet.
They need to stop losing the early fight for sure. Nico is going to get one for free. Maybe simply better prepared Heroic. They've won every round in this half so far. Bear in mind, they started this half 3-12. Now they're at 10, and mousesports are no better. And again, mousesports are losing a lot of men early. They're going down to 4 versus 5 or worse in almost all of these rounds.
And that same tendency we saw with Heroic, losing a lot of members early on their T side. Outcome is the same in terms of the approach. It's a little bit different, but same thing there. I would say that mousesports is definitely struggling the way that Heroic is of, you know, figuring out rotations from CT side and getting to a point where you actually are in potentially a man advantage and getting the bomb down. Oh, he spots the barrel.
There we go. Catches Bor up on the rotation. Oh my god!
Ouch.
How dare you shoot me through the steel girder? And then there was Rops. Maybe they can use this time as a timeout because this will be round number 8 of failure. Again, Heroic are just getting so many early picks, especially towards the A bomb sites. Yeah, a flank at the beginning of the round. Very bizarre stuff, but very successful from Heroic, playing with complete supreme confidence.
And this is really the worst case for mousesports. So we thought, oh, okay, even more so a worst case for mousesports. Rops dying there at the end of the time. But we talked about how close Heroic was to potentially getting to a point where they're money starved and having to save. But the last few rounds here have been very dominant from Heroic. Starting to even get the money up and running here, which does not bode well from mousesports. Having to string more than one round together now to force Heroic on a save. We'll see how this map progresses throughout the year. I think CTs have a little bit of the upper hand right now, at least from what I've seen so far with Vertigo this year.
Tessa's just not shy is he at all. That's an aggressive position. But it's up to mousesports to give them a reason not to play like this. And so far that's been lacking in this half.
All-out warfare here on A-Ramp once again, and the trades go really well for Heroic. So it's pretty much the same story as for the Huge so far. Robs would do well to do some economic damage and try to help set mousesports up for some of these rounds that are to come. Oh, there we go. It just takes one round. It just takes one gun round here from mousesports, and they can start getting backed. You know, they can start building back.
Problem is,
build back
got over 11k now. They got so much money from these rounds. Since there was that earlier round where Heroic were kind of low and they just deleted mousesports, they've built up so much cash. They're in a strong position for the time being, by every measure, Heroic.
And I would love for mousesports here, like we talk about fast round, I would say unless you go towards, like, for example, mid, it's a very hard map to go very fast on. And with Heroic throwing the default smokes in here and really fighting for a ramp here, I was going to say I would have loved for mousesports to maybe pace them a little bit more. But this is a good start at least.
Yeah, that's new.
That is
for mousesports.
And they also got map control, forcing Heroic to fall back now. So this is probably one of the better starts we've seen mousesports in.
Cadian's in the smoke by the sandbags, if I'm not mistaken, which will be an interesting play later on.
He should have a teammate. Nico doesn't have a smoke for him either, and who's number 0? Stavin does have one for Cadian. I think the worrisome part for Cadian to stay here is that you tend to, if you have one molly left on the T side, you do tend to throw that by sandbags. But he does fall back.
Nice lurk smoke from Carrigan, cutting off the middle of mid. Cadian still taking pot shots though. Carrigan's got to be very careful. Looking for the transfer onto Nico. Extreme aggression from Carrigan. Has he done enough? 4 versus 3. Bomb needs to be collected. It will be by Rops. 40 seconds remain as Frozen making inroads on the A bomb site.
Smokes you assure the cross for that plant. Very limited utility here for Heroic. They're going to have to hit some shots. Oh no! Nico finds 2 off that one burst. And that could be horrible here for Frozen and Bemis. Starting to lose ground, starting to lose options and time. And that Molotov only serving to make matters worse here for Bemis. That leaves him with no options, in fact. I don't think he's going to have any time to plant. He's going to try to force the issue. Fakes it. Forces out one. And he has, just enough time to get the plant in here. Bemis could still win this round. Oh, there's the peak. Straight away. Very confident, but Storm will have him and the rounds.
Nothing going the way of mousesports. At least they can buy again thanks to the bomb plant, but man, that 2K on the ramp was absolutely ridiculous. Not sure if he knew anything about that second kill, but either way, the result is the same. No rounds for mousesports in this half just yet. And it's 10 rounds in a row for Heroic. They've done more than come back. They've taken the lead now. Perhaps this is the pressure mousesports needed to try and convert something, but they are running out of rounds to lose here on Vertigo.
Oh man, what an important round. Like the clutching going on there. That would have been so huge for mousesports. And where does that really leave them? This is great resilience here. A very important grind, of course, for mousesports. Looking to force that third map of... Heroic, I should say. Looking to force that third map, which would be Mirage, which would, I think, it would perhaps be by far the best map of this series if we do get there.
Well, there's a big buy for both squads. No snipers for mousesports. They've avoided losing a man early, but still 2 AWPs creep on Vertigo for Heroic. Mousesports need to figure out what kind of configuration there might be without it costing them players. You can see Carrigan showing presence towards that A-bomb site. Again, there are support grenades from above the ladder, but can be thrown. There's a 3-man lineup. Carrigan now with a cheeky play, finds second, spots the third, almost takes Nico down as well. Has he done his job? Is that enough this time? Maybe Bemis clears the rotation, but he can't take out Borup towards B. And the numbers are tied again.
Rob's the creep through mid. Borup actually... Oh, does he have any idea about this? No, he does not. That's a huge kill. The pressure now on that defense on A is really enormous. So you can see that will split the attention away. Cadian coming across. Worried about Robs, but they can't really worry too much about it. They'll ignore his position for now, understanding that the rotation's on that B site. And that's a great pickup. Cadian keeping the dream alive here for Heroic. Nico holding that flank from mid as well. Robs goes down, and these Orbs are really doing all the work. All the work they need to. Frozen still there, looking to give mousesports a chance there. Another clutch situation. 10 seconds, really, it's just going to be forced to go for the plant. Is there an angle that Nico can find here in time? Not just yet, but eventually Nico finds it and gets everything that he needs. And Heroic, again, they're winning these clutches.
11 rounds in a row. Not a single T round so far for mousesports. And what a comeback as well. 12-3. Caster Curse might be real here because I said that. Surprise me if mousesports just come back and win 16-14, but
I don't know, man. I don't know. These
yeah, I mean, it's worrisome.
There were so many dry jiggles they were forced into. Just for information, it looks like a very tough spot for them on the T side, not just in terms of score, but how these rounds are playing out. Carrigan now, and let's not forget his entries on the A-bomb side in the previous round. Has he spotted Nico here? Hasn't seen him at all, but he still gets a kill eventually. And of course, one of the AWPs to trade. No one else in position just yet. Really trying to create some space for his team, Carrigan. Dying first, he can now lead the remainder, but can they get any rounds in this half?
He should be traded here, but what he knows. Nice shot from Acor though. 4-on-3. I said it, Caster Curse might be real here. It's an actual good position to be in here now if you're mousesports. They have B control here at the same time. Heroic rotating over to mid and A. Bomb is still not there yet, though, so there's still a possibility. But these positions from mousesports, I mean, very, very difficult spot to be in here now if you're Heroic to retake this. What?
Oh, God, on the back. Perfect
just
timing. he thought Caden was cheating. He was lining up a grenade. Well, 1 versus 2 now. Surely this is the round. Surely, if there's to be just a 1 round, it has to be this one for mousesports. 2 rounds behind now. Cadian trying to isolate a fire, but Acor's in trade frag position. It's in pre-fire from Cadian. Bait's not taken just yet. Bemis facing the wrong way now, going around the corner. Finally, mousesports get their opening round in the second half, and it's almost over.
And it's on the back of at least carrying getting the entry there on A ramp, and then them actually contesting and fighting for it. And in the same process, you know, because mousesports hasn't had a very successful T side, this is why you see the over-rotate coming from Heroic as well. Like, they leave a lot of gaps open. And for mousesports, just walks into the red carpet on the B-bomb side, gets the first round on the board. There was some damage being done, though. We talked about the economy from the Heroic side, and they were building up to it, but mousesports are close. They're going to look back at this game even and say, like, they've been so starved for money, Heroic. All we needed was, you know, to string 2 rounds together, and we would have been in a much better spot.
So true. Exchange once again on a ramp. Carrigan once again loves to be the guy that goes in first. Loves to get the action started, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Taking down Cadian creates a lot of space all the way on the site. Doesn't care about Tessus, leaves him in his wake. Sitting there at the top of the A ramp, still causing problems as Tessus, but Carrigan can swing round to deal with him, surely. And that's exactly what will happen. Nice shot from Storm, but so much to do here. Has to get the ace clutch to win the rounds. That's what he needs to do.
I mean, it really comes back to, I mean, this is insane. I mean, this round, they're absolutely carrying him, but even last round, I'd argue, you know, him taking control here and going a little bit more aggressive. Sure, Acre does go down, but as we know on the map, just now that the fact that they know where Stalvin is, bomb goes down on the B-bomb site. We're 100% going to see a chase here. We know as well that they are not in good shape in the money department from Heroic, so Stalvin saving this AWP definitely wants to do that.
Yeah, it's not great for mousesports either, but they could really do with taking the SORP away. So many spaces he could be there. There we go. And they could pick up that AWP as well for Acor because, again, mousesports are also a little bit brocus-pocus, but they have taken the money away from Heroic at a very crucial time. And again, it's one of those halves where, as difficult as it has been, this is a crucial spot. And Carrigan's just running wild, just W everywhere. Deleting players left and right, taking absolute liberties, and that's got to be really frustrating for Heroic. Just an outrageous play from Carrigan to keep his team in the game. Almost a complete eco from Heroic. 2 flashes for Cadian for the A ramp, it seems. Oof, that's not too shabby a start, but they definitely don't want to lose 2 weapons here. One must be careful. Here come the steps. There's the flash. Frozen with the continuation spray. Can't see much of anything. Acor's got to get out of there. Join the team. Keep the weapons away from the opponent. Just the 1 now in Cadian with the USP. They're about to concede match points. What a situation.
It's all after the caster curse was real. Apologize, Heroic fans. Still a possibility, though. Obviously not for this round, but 15-14. It's still going to be a decent buy here for Heroic next.
I mean, I felt like we were going to see an overtime earlier. That's what I was going with. So we'll have to see if that comes to fruition here. That is pretty much the situation that, of course, Heroic are going to have to be in to keep this game going, keep their chances going in this series. Of course, if you are just joining us, Mousesports, they had a great game of the train when they got to the CT side, of course, but Vertigo is looking like it was just hopeless for Mousesports after their first half. Like, what a weird 2 maps in that sense.
Yeah, and even now when a timeout's going to be called, and here's the worrisome part if you're Heroic, because the problem that you've had the last 2 rounds that Mousesports ended up winning was that you have to find a way to stop Kerrigan on the A ramp the problem if you're Heroic here now too, and when the conversation's happening with the mousesports camp over here right now, is like, maybe we just fake it, right? Like, what are the odds of them rushing out mid now, for example, because they're thinking that Heroic's just going to stick 3 guys on day ramp right off the bat. A lot of different outcomes could be played now this round, so it's going to be exciting to see what we talk about and the approach. But I think the biggest thing here is really not allowing Kerrigan to just keep on walking up there. And if he does, then let's make sure that we play a little bit more retake, just so he doesn't drop the entry.
Importantly, there's no sniper rifles for Heroic. They've been instrumental in this half. Instrumental in the angles that Heroic have found. And maybe that changes the dynamic in terms of Kerrigan's aggression on this A bomb site as well. We may see more of a crossfire situation. We can see Tessus hasn't gone this deep this time.
It's insane. He does the same.
Yeah, he's doing it quietly on this occasion. Step has been made though. Nico, oh god, he's still going to get deleted. Kerrigan creating space, trying to pull rotation over. Some HEs towards the side as well. That's a meaty one for Tessus. 3.5 men remaining for Heroic, and it's just Kerrigan they have information on.
I can't believe he's allowed to do that again, even on timing as well. And Kerrigan, he's gonna get third! Oh my god! That's a flash from Cadian. Want to do a mid-round take there, losing the entry, needs to take the A-ram back, throws the flashbang, but Kerrigan's great position. Sure, it's a team effort, maybe, but I mean, honestly, Kerrigan wins this map in favor of mousesports. The last 3 rounds that they need, all in the hands of Kerrigan.
That's absolutely fantastic from mousesports and Kerrigan. He's pretty happy with himself, and how could he not be? Exceptional plays from Kerrigan on the A bomb site. Talk about entries. Utterly ridiculous, and that's got to be gutting for Heroic. A long way back, only to be pipped at the post by Kerrigan.
Yeah, how many entry frags did he actually find in this series? I feel like it was insane. He's like, we're losing. Someone's going to take the game into their own hands, and who better than myself? You know, it's amazing to see such success from him there.
It really is. Quick break. When we're back, more thoughts on that crazy map of Vertigo. Welcome back to the CS Summit number 7. Robin's definitely ready after a crazy game of Vertigo.
It's my post segment. I come back and because it's James Bond theme. I don't want to get TOS, so obviously no real weapons allowed. So
yeah, don't call anyone a simp either.
Yeah, so it's gonna be just hand pistols here.
I got a flashbang. I don't have a weapon.
That is pretty cool.
I have lots of weapons though, generally speaking, but not right.
Is that how they really look, or is that just like a made-up one?
No, this is how they really look. This is it even says like stun grenade on the side. This is actually how they look. There we go.
That's pretty cool.
Even got the patent number on the side of it. So yeah, these are actually extremely dangerous, and this is metal, so it's kind of a little bit scary. Like if I bash my titanium watch on it, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's very, very solid. It actually feels real, so I'm scared to pull the pins just in case. You never know, man.
You never. Maybe that's an after party trick. Eventually.
That's why I'm going to be at. So we have Mytha on the line, I believe, for a post-match interview after a very crazy game of Vertigo. What was that game like on the comms for the team?
It was actually pretty calm. All things considered, I mean, we felt maybe a bit too comfortable after that first half, and they did really well shutting us down, especially on A ramp. But we felt like we have a lot of close ramps, so a lot of close rounds, sorry, and a lot of clutches that could have gone our way. So the comms were actually pretty, decent and down to earth. We knew what needed to be done in the end. So yeah, I'm proud of the boys for staying calm like that.
You guys obviously this first event with Acor instead of Chris J. Going through the process of picking up a potential new player. Obviously, you and Kerrigan both being Danish. I've been speaking very highly about the Danish scene in general. I think that you guys have done a really good job with developing your players with the certain teams of Copenhagen Flames, Mad Lions. What was the conversation about picking Acor up? Did you guys have maybe any other guys in mind, or was this just the one guy that you've been looking at for a while and thought that he's going to be a great addition to the team?
I think that already when I joined the team back in mid-November, I knew that there had been some challenges with the orb, not taking anything away from Chris, because he's such a nice guy and he's such an important piece of the team, or he was at least with the energy that he brings to the table and doing decently with the orb. We managed to get back to top 10 with him. So, but I had a list ready with a lot of potential names when I came in, and Acor was definitely on the top of that list. We didn't actually think that we were able to get him, but there was some really good negotiations going on between Mouse and Mad Lions, and we managed to get him in the end. So he was definitely on the top of our list.
What do you think makes Acor like a particularly good fit for the team? Is there anything beyond just his ability with the orb that you think makes him a good fit?
So it's actually, I don't know him that well because he's one of the players that I haven't worked with before in the Danish scene. But like one thing is his movement, like it's so crisp to watch. I don't know if you saw how he would. No, that was actually in the Prague game, so never mind. But the one thing is his movement is so crisp to look at. But he's so stable with the orb, like he hits the shots that he's supposed to, and actually the amount of initiative that he's taking, like he's not afraid of making any peaks. And also Kerrigan has been making sure that that he feels comfortable into making any aggressive peak in the early rounds that he feels like he wants to. So he's taking so much initiatives. He's talking a lot, and everything just feels super natural with them on the team. He's not afraid of taking control in the middle of the round and guiding the rest of the team to what he thinks that we should do and stuff. So so far so good, and everything feels super natural with him.
Speaking of Kerrigan, he got some absolutely ridiculous entries towards the end of that game, and sometimes one round single-handedly. Like, what is he saying to the team there? Is he just saying like, just leave ramp to me, or are they in a holding pattern while he tries to cause as much anarchy as possible? Like, what is he up to there?
Yeah, so I've only been like a part of the team. It's not for that long, but my impression of Finn so far has been that sometimes he just reaches that point where he just says, "Okay, guys, I'm not gonna give a fuck," and then he just fucking pushes all the way up right on side. And I mean, sometimes it's just balls out and show who got the biggest, right? And Finn is really really good at that, like playing confident, and so that's pretty much it.
Would you say, so I didn't get a chance to catch your face game yesterday, but looking at today, I think both you and Heroic were struggling on that T side quite a bit, to James' point, with Kerrigan kind of really, stepping up there at the end of the T side on Vertigo. Would you say that obviously Acor being new, looking at your approach to the game and obviously BTS as a whole, is this more so like, let's wing it a little bit more? How much time have you actually realistically gotten with Acor, and how comfortable do you feel on the maps that you guys are playing, especially the T sides?
So our first practice day was actually this Sunday, so we've only had 1 day of practice, so we can be really happy with the results that we've been making so far. Like having a 2-0 against Heroic, he's always a tough opponent to play, and then also a 2-0 against FaZe yesterday. That was really convincingly. I feel like that it's good. It's a good thing that everything feels so natural, but we only had 1 day of practice, and obviously we haven't been going over all the maps. There's so many different things that Acor needs to learn and to understand. One of the basic things is just the basic callouts on the team, on all the maps, because he's been playing in Danish teams so far. So like we had everything prepared to him, and going over the playbook and all the callouts, making that into screenshot of all the map overviews and stuff in order to make him feel as comfortable. And incredibly enough, he's been able to remember pretty much all of it. But we haven't had time to go over all the maps. We haven't practiced Vertigo, even though that it's a map that we feel pretty comfortable on. But now we have 2 days, and we're gonna have some 2 long practice days in order to get everything sorted, and hopefully be able to make it to the semifinal as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. I think that will bring our interview to a close. We must press on. We've got more Counter-Strike to come, but good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy the games.
Cheers. Well, that was a very entertaining game. I think we expected that to go 3 maps, but hey-ho, Kerrigan said no, and there we are, 2-0 from mousesports.
Yeah, I mean, to Mr. point there too. I mean, they had 1 game, 1 day of practice, right? And they end up going and beating FaZe in 2-0 fashion, and then today with Heroic 2-0 fashion, and they're through to this was the upper bracket final, right? So they're through to playoffs already, convincing fashion. It's going to be pretty exciting then to say. I would make the same argument maybe for Fnatic having a new player as well. Of it's always the unknown. Sure, you still keep the core 4, but there's some there's some tricks and things up your sleeve there. I believe we're going to be throwing it to a quick break. I think
that's it from me. And Dan's out as well. We'll leave Robin with some new guests. We've got Samuelson and Golden coming.
Yeah, I was going to say that we do have guests joining us for the last series. It's going to be me, Harry, and Hugo. And I think we got 2 guests with Golden and Samuelson from Fnatic. It's going to be super exciting. Get their thoughts, especially on their new player as well that we just talked about.
I look forward to watching that one butt naked off camera. They will see you after the break.
And welcome back, everyone. CS Summit 007. The games continue. We got a couple of special guests on the line as well. We got a few Swedes actually. We got far too many Swedes. We're outnumbered, Harry. Obviously, Golden and Samuelson from Fnatic, as well as Robin, who was on that previous game. How you boys doing?
Great.
We're doing really good. Two victories and we won the group. So yeah, couldn't be better.
To your point, Hugo and Harry, be careful about the Swedes. We might just overtake the stream, you know what I mean? Börja snacka lite svenska, du vet inte vad vi snackar om, eller hur? Bra dag idag, Hugo.
I only know really all like terrible swear words in Swedish, but ones that I don't know are broadcast safe, so I'll hold on to them for now. Yeah, man, we got some Counter-Strike coming up. You know, we got a bit of Furia action. I love Furia. I don't know how you guys find them. Have you been able to keep up with Furia much while they've been mostly in NA, you two?
We played them a couple of times, both in practice and officials, of course. And they are fun to watch, but not that fun to face, I would say, because you never know what to expect, especially from Art. But yeah, they are a fun team for sure.
What do you make of the whole standing situation? I guess this applies to you pretty well, right? Honda playing in Furia right now. You're dealing with a new player yourself and Giacchino. What's it been like having Giacchino on your side and adjusting as such a young player?
I mean, it's been a smooth ride so far. He's taking a lot of information at the same time from every corner of the team, and he's doing a pretty good job at it. Well, obviously, playing the officials is a different thing, and he's learning a lot faster than expected, like how he's managing his mental and how he's playing in the game and doing all the stuff around the team as well. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, I have to agree. You need to remember that he's totally green. He's never been to a big LAN before, and there's a huge step from that kind of level and the level we play now versus complexity and OG. So far so good, and I think he has shown his potential, and he's a really good player for sure.
Yeah. You guys are boot camping right now. Was that also, knowing that Giacchino was going to come in, and as you pointed out, him not having experience on, offline events, was that also like a given bonus of, let's do a boot camp at the same time as BTS and give him some more experience, playing with each other on site?
Yeah, 100%. Like a kickoff boot camp, we call it. Get to know the guys in real life and all stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Make him comfortable with seeing each other. The earlier, the better.
Let me ask you. Well, actually, this might be just for Golden, but I know that you, Golden, you were on HLTV Confirmed a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a few months ago now. But you talked a little bit about the Swedish scene and how poor of a job we've done with developing players compared to, for example, Denmark. Would you say that picking up Giacchino is very much kind of helping out the scene a little bit more? Obviously, he's a very talented young individual. I think you can make the same argument for a lot of Swedish talent out there. But would you say that, because I would put the same pressure on even on NIP and even on a Dignitas, right? Of getting to a point now where we have to get to a spot of who overtakes the veterans that we currently have. Who do we get to develop these players? Denmark have figured it out, right? With Copenhagen Flames, Mad Lions, into the Astralis and Heroics. But I don't think we can make the same argument in Sweden at the moment.
No, for sure. The thing with Sweden is that you have the talents, but they're not molded in a right way where they can fit in a top team immediately. So you have to mold them, and that takes a longer time compared to like you mentioned the Danish scene, because they had a lot of in-game leaders helping them out in the beginning, and when they reached the top. They either did it with their own team or they got picked up, and from there it was a lot of easier transition than coming from a rookie to the tier 1 scene. Obviously, it's hard and it's going to take a longer time, and you have to approach that rookie in a very good manner. Otherwise, you don't want to make it flop. So yeah.
Do you think Sweden just doesn't produce in-game leaders anymore? Do you think that's what it is? And the competitiveness within Sweden of trying to be the best team in Sweden, does that not exist? Or what has kind of caused Swedish decline in that sense of development? Because I agree with you. I mean, there's no leadership, right? If you think about it, I think even in 1.6 we always used to have these farmer teams that used to play in tier 2 that always got picked up by the large dogs. we don't really have that currently in in CS:GO, and maybe that's because of in-game leaders. I don't know. I feel like you're a little bit on the new school spectrum of that as well, Golden. So maybe you have more insights on that.
Yeah, it's a bit of like a hubris in Sweden. Like you play a few good matches and you think you're very good, and it's hard for some players to understand you need 5 working players and everyone has to have a role, and people don't tend to take the in-game leader role because it doesn't give you that highlight moment, which
Star
is
player performance.
Yeah, and we seek more attention than actually achieving something greater than ourselves.
Robin, going on to this matchup, I actually wanted to ask you something as well. We have obviously the Betway odds, VP coming in as favourites. That's a whole conversation in and of itself, considering Furia's form recently. But for VP, they've had a pretty interesting or pretty up and down 2020. Obviously, Flashpoint 2 is an event that I imagine you were pretty involved and pretty attentive to, considering Dignitas there, an event VP won. So I don't know, what do you make of VP right now? How do you feel their form is, coming into this event?
I mean, I think that it's the same could be said for example, a team like Heroic. I think VP have really picked up the pace from where we expected them to be. And I think it really falls into the hands of, I would say to Jamie, I think that he had a very, he didn't have a great play style, to fit in a team environment, but I think that they've really managed to get away with, Jamie is actually a really, a pillar of that team now. And I think that they've figured out a way of how to incorporate all their pieces. And they've always been dangerous, right? I think the CIS region, Golden pointed out about Furia, they're fun to watch, but they're not fun to play against. And I think that, same could be said about that region. I think VP out of all of them, I think plays a little bit special. I don't think that they play like super CIS compared to other teams, and I think that makes them a little bit more dangerous. At the same time, I do think that the odds make sense. We do know that Furia has had obviously the Stallion and Honda as well, and what we saw yesterday, Vinny talked about it as well. They were struggling at times, so it's going to be fun to see if they're showing another face today.
Yeah, and we have the vetoes as well on our screen just a second ago. Inferno and Overpass being the first 2 maps, didn't quite catch the third, but yeah, I don't think there's going to be a worry with Inferno and Overpass. Both teams very comfortable on that map. Hopefully, we'll be getting in just a second as well, but hopefully, yeah.
I was gonna say I kind of love this matchup, right? Like in my mind, these are 2 teams on like polar opposite views as to how they want to approach the game, right? Whenever I think of VP, I think of this kind of slow, methodical. You got like the whole James saving meme and stuff like that, and then with Fury, you have this very, very explosive, very, very fast, in your face style of Counter Strike. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these 2 squads stack up for that reason, because I do think that they are the polar opposite in terms of how they approach this game.
Golden, well, actually, let's ask Fnatic here. Yeah, I was going to say, on Inferno specifically, Golden and Samuelson, because I do think that VP is pretty unique in the approach on this map as well. What do you guys think?
I think that Virtus Pro is a very underrated team, actually. I think they are a very good team. And I also think that they have changed their playstyle. They used to be the super, super slow team with the game time and everything, but I think they play more normal nowadays, which makes it harder, in my opinion.
Well, we are in regardless. It's VP on the CT side and a pistol round already underway. Jamie and Yakinda finding early picks. And I mean, Yakinda, that's a guy you could talk about all day long in terms of young talent. That has a insanely high skill ceiling. So hopefully we'll see some of that in this series. For now, Furia just trying to claw their way back into middle, moving up with the bomb and setting towards a 3 CTs here. Already info getting grabbed. Kicker going to spot 2 and drop 1. Art trades, and Yakinda's still in grave. So Furia, no easy entrance into this A site. Yakinda caught repositioning, but no kill for Furia. And they're actually going back to B as well. There's only 1 player here right now, but 1 player is all they need. Buster dropping Art, and this round is pretty screwed for Furia.
Nice hold from VP there early on. They even have nades enough as well for a potential retake setup had VP hit the B bomb site, or had Furia hit the B bomb site. Nonetheless, nice hold from VP, dominant fashion. And we talk about Furia a lot. I think the tendency here of like we're expecting Furia to be pretty good on the T side, might struggle a little bit more on that CT side. I agree with Samuelson when you mentioned as well, by the way. I do think that they've changed their playstyle a lot from being that super slow team into like incorporating, the piece a little bit more of, playing a little bit more, I guess, default Counter-Strike, as you pointed out. And I think just the consistency of them as well and having players always show up has helped them. A young team, so we talk about the online era, and I think, a team like VP has definitely helped them with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can just see the Furia and then VP. Like VP just played for Banana on a they know either Force Buy or Eco, so that's pretty extreme. If you ask me, like playing 4B in the beginning, and just showing that they want to stop any aggression Banana quickly if they have any in mind. Yeah, and Furia are known to be very aggressive in that part of the map.
Yeah, so
you guys
if you
feel like
basically, if you want to beat Furia, you need to stop the early aggression, because if they get the map space and control that Art is a mastermind to have, then it's gonna be really tough for you. So that's the key when you play versus Furia, I would say.
That's what I was going to ask as well. How you feel that Inferno as a whole has changed. The CT side and T side. I think that we had a moment where a lot of people were just fighting for Banana control, but now we kind of see people kind of pacing themselves more. I think Inferno is a very good testament as to how good teams have been with their utility, if anything. Would you say that it's been different to play as well on the CT side?
Yeah, I mean it's beginning of the start of the round on Banana. Whoever wins the utility fight, kind of. Like how many Molotovs do you have to use to pick Banana and how much you can save up? That will be the factor of winning the round later on. And it's one of the hardest thing and probably the hardest area of a map you can actually play in of all the maps, because all the decisions have to be made split seconds.
Would you say that somewhat of the Banana control comes down to like RNG in terms of spawns and certain nades landing on certain players? Like surely there's just an element of luck or randomness in winning the Banana fight, especially when both teams have full buys.
Well, the spawn is an advantage for sure, but it's not that big of an advantage if you use your nades correctly or maximizing all the factors that could then. Like, let's say there's a probability this guy will peek when the Molotov is there, or they're gonna smoke it out. You can always position yourself so that you're not in the danger, and you have the same chances of taking the Banana the same way. But the only difference is that who uses their Molotov, top car, or deep Banana, and who wins the fight of peeking the first one. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of more of showing you.
Yeah.
No, we talk about that a lot. I think that's why, to your point, your goal. I think that's why, like when we, especially for me, when we watch games and I try to tell the viewers, I think a lot of people have like weird concepts of even sometimes I think we see tendencies. You guys do the same where you have rounds where you just run off mid one round, and I think for people there they don't necessarily understand, but I think it's for long term thinking about the whole half as a whole of reading the game and putting the CTs in a bit of a spot where they don't really know what you like to do. I think that we've seen a lot more of that as well. The tendency as well. You talk about utility, nades and winning that fight, and that's definitely like one of the nice changes we've seen. I think this map just revolved around taking Banana control before, but I think teams now are starting to get to understanding of, well, if they take Banana early, let's just wait. They've spent so much nades. We use one flash, very much what we see here. They've spent so many nades there. I'd just take it over with one flashbang, and we have Banana for free.
Yeah, basically. Just like you mentioned, there's so many ways of doing the process. That's a nice entry.
Yeah, and the smoke on the molly as well. Furia aren't waiting around. They aren't playing games. They are storming the B site, and even the spawn as well. Furia were one of the teams, at least in NA last year, that made this smoke like meta, basically. They use this in every single...
That's a Fnatic smoke, Hugo. What the fuck?
Oh, sorry, I covered
too, man.
I covevered NA all 2020. That's all I did. I just stayed up till 2 in the morning, casting Furia shit on MDL team.
Fnatic threw that
2020.
Fnatic fucking threw that smoke shit back in the goddamn 2012, man. They've been all up on that,
Well,
putting a lot of pressure on the site instead, like choking down the rotates instead. I do like it though. Not a lot of teams use it nowadays, and like maybe Golden can speak more as to like why it's not used as much as you might think. I think it does have a purpose, very much like with the double mollis in ladder room and train, for example. But I think people have kind of started to figure out as well how to kind of work around it, especially if this is the only smoke that you kind of throw on your T side.
Yeah, like for example, that round was all. It wasn't planned that they're gonna smoke deep CT. It just happened that they smoked the first box, and they had insight into CT, and they took the advantage of it, which was really nice. That's not something you can like pre-plan. That's just what happened in the round, and you just adapt. And that was a very good adaptation by Furia.
And if you get that smoke down, you have all the control you need, and the retake is so much more hard than a usual CT smoke.
And using this deep CT smoke in the current meta, it depends of like how the opponents play for sure. But you can for sure use it more. I haven't seen it a lot lately, but it isn't a bad move, I would say.
I can see to your point, because I feel like nowadays when CTs don't smoke off or use all their smokes in banana anymore, like we see if there's a fast play on the T side, you tend to drop the CT smoke on the site instead. And I actually think to your point, Golden, you know, if that's not something that you talk about before, if that smoke gets dropped and you have one more on the site, essentially you do create a very nice wall for yourself to go into CT.
Yeah, you see. As much as I agree, like in that example, like that was very much on the fly calling. But you sometimes see teams like I think OG, a good example of this, that will throw that wall smoke towards oranges, and they will also throw the deep CT smoke out of banana, so safe, not on the fly. And then they'll use Alexi B to push CT to wrap coffins with a Mac 10 and basically backstab the B players in that sense. So like, yeah, I get there are ways you can do it out of spawn if you get the banana control for free, right? So
yeah, they did it against us like a few hours ago. Didn't work.
Didn't work. Fair enough. I mean, listen, you're the worst team to do it against. That's what I'm saying, man. We don't, we don't go and try and teach the masters how to, do CT spawn smokes. It doesn't work that way.
But I mean, it's a good round. I have to agree, because if you succeed with the round, you have that deep smoke, and the retake is so much more hard. So yeah, it's a good round, especially if you have a Mac 10 or something, just flash and go.
Yeah, and one more thing about that smoke is that when you smoke first oranges or first box, you actually are more in the disadvantage of people are becoming so good at spraying through smokes that their lineup is too much of a risk running CT like that, and they can just like go on top of Fontaine and just like see over the smoke also. Which could be a problem if you play against really good B players. They tend to spam the weaknesses.
I was gonna say, I actually feel like Fnatic was one of the first teams that actually stopped doing these like insane banana takes all the time and started playing a little bit more defensive and holding their nades. I haven't had a chance to see you guys with Jaquinho yet on this map, so hoping maybe sometime throughout this week.
Yeah.
But I think you guys have been really smart about it. I think that even the approach of the game, I think Inferno has always been a map that, for me, in my opinion at least, has been Fnatic's playground in some sense. And I think finding other solutions as to like the new metas and stuff like that doesn't come around easily. And I think people do tend to get a bit lazy of finding a new approach and stick with the same on Vertigo A ramp, right? We saw that for the first 6 months, literally just run down A ramp every single round, and like no one really tried to figure out another solution as to like how to approach the map.
No, I totally agree with you. It's been the same way for a long time, but we'll see. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, all right.
Ooh, he's keeping secrets.
Yeah,
all right.
Okay, I like that.
This round actually almost got a little bit weird because of the AWP being over here at B. I was worried AWP was going to give the bomb away, but he's decided not to, so he should be fine. It should just be a save here, right? Yeah. James just wants to... Oh, look, man, Art's hungry for it.
Hunting with an AWP.
He literally has an AWP. He could give one over, but he don't care. This is the kind of stuff that he does. Like, so Golden, I got to know, as like an IGL watching this, are these the kind of plays, obviously you expect them out of ARP, but is this something you guys would ever do to this same level? Like, is JW ever... I mean, actually, he's the kind of perfect guy to also want to hunt with the AWP. I realized as I'm saying it, I'm like, well, actually, if one person was going to, it's going to be him. No, but this just seems wild to me, though. This is like, what, is this just confidence or like playing to the style, or is this something that you don't agree with?
I think it's both, and I think that it's his play style, and is very unique, of course. But as I mentioned in the beginning, he's the best of doing that, and I can guarantee you that no player gives his team more space and map control than Art is doing. So I think he's really good at doing what he does.
Yeah,
he's super special for sure.
I read a stat the other day that said something like in the rounds that Art dies, Furia have like their highest win percentage.
Yeah, and that's
or
100%
something.
because of the map control, right?
Yeah.
Because he's
I
not
was
just
gonna point that
dying,
out
he's
too.
gaining some for his team. So some people might see that, oh, he's just going out and die, but he actually took half the map before he did it. So yeah.
And I think Fnatic used to be exactly the same in the sense of like I think JW did calm down a little bit. I think he used to be a little bit more aggressive, but Fnatic when that era was alive, like Fnatic used to have a very very high 4 versus X situation as well of like allowing, and maybe to Samuel's point, right? I think it just provides a lot of map control. So playing off of the map control that you have. We have 2 teams like that. GW might not be an art style, but he's definitely very active on the map as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I would say that we see more and more players doing more of that stuff, like Kerrigan, Alexi, and yeah, at least one player in most of the teams is doing similar stuff, but not to that extent.
Oh, it's a bit of a mess in the middle right now. We got 6 players fighting. Kick it with the Deagle. Worth noting, VP went for a classic Virtus Pro buy in the previous round. Kicker on the eco dropped Jamie the Orb that he saved on B. And so now the Kicker is also on a Deagle in another round. He's got a kill though, he's tapped off the pit. Art swapping weapons and caught by Yakinda's rotation. And this is getting a bit messy here for Furia. They still haven't dealt with Kicker. They know he's here from his kill earlier, but that nade will not get him. Kicker's moving in with Yakinda. It's a double face, and it's traded all on Vinny with 1 health in a 1v2.
If you kiss the guy in pit, he'll win this.
Oh, okay. That's some stakes on this one now. Yeah, man, Vinny, 1 HP. You know, we've seen some great stuff from him before, but this is a pretty tall order. If he lands,
Did I hear a golden
this,
call that
maybe
he's going
there's
to
a
win
chance.
this? Was that?
He
was
said
that
if he gets the pit guy, he wins.
But he would beat
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He played it really good.
Done.
Like,
Yeah, loads of money for Furia still. Orb saved as well. Game time continues.
if Jamie and the other guy on B saved last round, not the round before, they're probably like the saving part of Jamie, like how they the community perceives it. Yeah, he saves a lot, but like when he saves, he creates more probabilities of winning the next round, or just by saving than going for a 1v3 with an off, which is not favorable in a lot of cases.
You can make the argument. I actually think that, like, back in the day, Fetish, so obviously, when we look back at the Danish lineup, used to be notorious for saving, and in positions maybe they were just odds-wise not being able to win.
This is GW stuff.
Yeah.
Taking banana alone with an AVP in the smoke.
So Kerrigan do the same, but I think it makes sense, right? To your point, Golden, and also Samuelson. I think that people are starting to figure out more of like, where do you fight? You tend to fight with teams, you tend to go in groups, and then you have like one player holding a spot. And I think that's really where Furia and even teams like Fnatic and more teams are doing it. But pushing with the solo player is not very expected, and you tend to get one-on-one duels. So it's definitely favorable, especially if you do end up getting that kill. You just have all the map control for free, essentially. This is what I was talking about the B control, and we see that. This is also why I think the tendencies for CTs of not taking banana control as often anymore just is more apparent, where it's just so easy for Ts to just wait. Sure, it's going to be less time on the clock, but they take banana back for free. And here they have a lot more utility here for the execute, right? XRR just rushes in seat spawn again.
Oh! How has he done that? Buster, 3 headshots on the corner. The bomb's going to make it to the site. Art's cleared it up. He can get the plant, but this is a difficult 1v3. Where's he going? Back to the ruins, back to the coffins. It's a bit of an open plant as well, so it's not going to be screwed by the coffin if they stick it. Trying to find a fight, but they're surely going to try and trade this frag if he gets away with one. Jumping for Jame and kicking the trade. Very well played for VP.
So this was basically the tactic we talked about before, but they didn't throw the deep city smoke.
Yeah, I felt like they took one step too long. Just leave the guy. You killed one guy, you don't need to kill the second guy who was hiding in ruins. You have the site for free. You just play safe after that, or play out the round instead.
I think that's on the part of, like, you kind of realize that both of the guys are CT spawn area, so why don't you just get the first kill and go site instead? Sure, you have to cover the site, but yeah, I can agree with that.
Which is also probably like, it's hard to say that they made the wrong play because you often don't see a player like someone kill 3 people without like getting traded. Like,
That's some nice shots.
Yeah, that was insane though. But like still, it happens, especially in the like top tier CS. One player can kill 3 people without getting a scratch.
And I also think that is like Furia's style of Counter-Strike, like flashes and then there's W and go, 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 go.
Yeah, very explosive.
Yeah, exactly. Very explosive.
Which is really, really hard to play against.
Yeah.
I mean, like Robin just said, right? They just gave up Banana the entire round. They waited the util. VP go back B, they boost, and then Furia just walk the entire way up Banana. The second they get car, they flash in. Like, no hesitation, no waiting around. Just wanted that Banana control.
And I think they are really good at doing that. Like when they really go, they go. Like no hesitation. They are trading each other really good.
That's what I was going to say about the pop flashes that we talk about. Because I think you can talk about we throw a flash and you go, but it takes a lot of communication, a lot of timing effort to like really get a good spot of ensuring that you're not flashed and the opponents are flashed. And that's really what Fury has excelled at, of doing these explosive pushes of like, let's go on the one flashbang, and we know that flashbang is going to be good, and let's just not stop, like W.
I think that's one of the things that maybe looks easy, but it's not that easy to do really good when you enter a site and stuff like that.